Hello.
Good afternoon, Wooly. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. I'm currently enjoying the day after Cabana Sucre.
Oh, how's your tummy?
Yeah. I haven't hit the system with that much maple syrup in a very long time. It's kind of sickening how much is ingested. Um
So, to those of you who don't speak French, which is 99.9% of this audience, cabane à sucre is a Quebec tradition, which roughly translates to sugar shack,
mhm.
which is where you go out into the country, you get a bunch of good ass breakfast food, and you just douse the whole fucking thing with maple syrup.
Homer with the propane,
Just
all of
um,
it.
just fuck it up. Just
So,
you're eating a full breakfast out of a puddle of sugar.
yeah. Um, so basically, the syrup maple places farms up in the wooded areas and stuff. When they make a whole bunch of syrup, you got to figure out how to make byproducts and you got to figure out how to make your land worth it. What can you do? And they make maple butter, which is incredible. They make all kinds of things, and then they have usually a giant kind of barn area where you'll have multiple school trips. I've had twice as a kid, I remember.
I've had two or three, yeah.
Yeah, and you have everyone kind of come up. You can just also book and go there as a restaurant thing, but it's like a dinner that takes place all at the same time, one giant like mess hall,
A
and then
banquet.
giant banquet hall, and you sign up to go and sit at one of the many tables, and then yeah, they bring out breakfast for dinner essentially,
Yeah.
and everything is just doused in syrup, and then at the table, if there's not enough for you, you take like a pitcher of juice, except it's not juice, it's just syrup, and it's
Just
and
syrup.
it's there for you to pour even more on everything you eat. What the fuck are you doing? You drinking coffee? You better pour syrup in that coffee. You're having your ham, you're having your potatoes, you're having
You know, I was
whatever.
just thinking about this the other day about how the natives who got here first, right,
Hmm.
were truly given like a blessed piece of land by God more than almost anywhere else in the world because nowhere else does candy literally grow on
Grows on
trees.
trees. Grows on trees. Yeah. And then once you've had your insane syrupy breakfast dinner thing, you have your pudding chômeur for dessert, um, which is the poor man's pudding essentially,
It's
and
good.
it's amazing. It's such a misnomer for how good it is. It's the most basic like cake mix. It's just basic cake mix, and then brown sugar underneath it, and those two together warm is unbelievably good. And yeah, that was like it was named as such for it being like kind of ghetto pudding. um
Yeah.
and then after your first dessert, you got to go have your second dessert, which is outside where you do your tir sur la neige. you
Yeah,
know
just fucking throw some fucking maple syrup on the fucking snow. It's
yes.
candy now.
So that you guys might have seen or heard, because it's the most like what the fuck are they doing weird one. But it's like you have syrup and you just pour it on snow, and
Now
then
it's candy.
it cools down a little bit, and then you stick a popsicle stick in it, and now you got candy. Exactly.
That's it. It's
um
toffee right there. Bam, done.
yeah. And yeah, that stuff, like again, it's usually pretty good considering I haven't had this much sugar in my system for a long time. It was a bit
So it
much
must
for
have blown
me.
your shit off. Just
Blue.
ugh.
Yep. Like fucking Murphy, just a little bit, like RoboCop. But and then you go into to either. Well, when I was a kid, it was like then you get on the horse ride, and then they do a little
Yeah, you get on the
tour
buggy
around the
and go through
thing.
a farm or some shit.
In our case, it was a pretty sad horse, and it was just watching the horse poop as it walked down the road, and it was pretty sad. And this time around, it was,
Sometimes you pet some goats or
yeah,
something.
there's a little petting zoo thing, and you in there, and there's some animals, and you can feed them and stuff, and then of course we have to be checking it out right behind the fucking douchebag mid-20s kids who think it's hilarious to pretend to feed something and then take it away. So it's like, oh, hey, goat, and the goat's
a good
like,
way for a fucking goat to bite you.
you
Goats
fucking
will bite
piece
you.
of shit, get back here. And then the horse like, and I'm just like, I swear to God, like, please lose a limb. Like,
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because farm animals don't work on the same sets of like social conditions that like a pet does. So if I was walking Zangief the dog out, right, and somebody went whoa, 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 and got in his face and like Zangief bit him, the dog would have to go, right? You can't have a dog that bites strangers on the street, right? But if somebody was like fucking with your goat at the farm and the goat bit their finger right off, they'd be like, yeah, don't touch the goats.
I mean, it's wild. Like, and they're all on top of that. They're already clearly petted out, you know. So they're doing like the pet thing for the head, and like that, like the horse is like trying to get away from his hand. He's like, literally, leave me alone. And the stupid fucking kids are just like, ah. And then like, and it'd be one thing if you're talking about like, I don't know, some single age digit child, and then their parent is like,
a 7-year-old.
Hey Danielle, I just, you know, whatever. But it's not that. These are like a group of bros, you know, again, like probably mid-20s or so, just laughing at each other as they're fucking around with it. And it's just like, you're the worst.
There is no grander example of a person's personality than how they treat creatures or people who don't have the ability to defend themselves either socially or physically.
Exactly.
The way somebody treats a waiter at a restaurant, the way somebody treats a cat at like a shelter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's the shopping cart test for a living being.
Yeah.
Right? There's no consequence for treating
cart test is some fucking stupid 4chan meme. And
yeah.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
But it's like, when no one's looking, do you put the shopping cart back in its thing, or do you just roll it and let it hit another car and walk away? Right. And so if there's no consequence for treating these petting zoo animals like shit, are you the kind of person that's going to do it anyway? Because lol, you know, or worse yet, yo, check out how funny this is, guys, look, you should do it too, etc. While also, again, giving non-consensual pets, you know, when it's actively trying to get away. It was super annoying.
Hey, listen, man, all I'm gonna say is that the San Diego Zoo tiger,
yeah, exactly
was that had a point.
That was a hell of a leap. Hell of a leap to draw a conclusion there. Yeah. No, it's exactly that. And that like poke it with a stick kind of like mentality as well. That I don't know. I got properly bummed out by that right quick, and I was like, okay, I think I've had enough of this little. Yeah,
I saw a raccoon just hanging out on my fucking in my backyard, like 3 feet from my back door when I was out there doing something. And Paige saw the raccoon. She said, "Oh my God, a raccoon! What if it tries to break into the house?" I'm like, "Honey, the raccoon is not going to try and break into. The raccoons don't break into your house." Also, it wasn't garbage day, so the raccoon was chill.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, they would know.
Raccoons are really friendly 6 days of the week.
And
that other day.
But yeah, so usually as spring comes around, that's one of those traditions. Exactly. I haven't gone since like school though, like elementary school and shit.
A while.
And I kind of remember too that like, yeah, so especially for me back then, it was a big old waste of time, because when they'd bring out plates of, here's a giant thing of eggs, here's a giant thing of ham, here's a bunch of bacon, and here's some peas and beans and stuff. And I was like, I literally want none of this. I'll just poke at these potatoes and call it a day. But yeah, this time around, you know, again, I was able to enjoy it.
I mean, hey man, if you're like unhappy, you can just always fall back on just throw a bunch of ham on this fucking plate.
Exactly. Or okay, so this was one I somehow missed as far as like Quebec traditional things go. I didn't know about the pork spread. Do you know that stuff? It starts with a C.
I forget the name of it.
CH?
I don't particularly care for it.
Yeah, it's sure something. I don't know. And I was like, what the fuck?
I fucking forget.
Yeah, there's this, but it's like, it's pretty good. It's pretty tasty.
My grandma would offer it, and I'd be like, no thanks, grandma. And she'd be like, oh yeah, pate.
It's not, but
That's
it's not pate. It's the word they had for it is a different word.
Yeah.
But the consistency is like pate. No, you're if you're not from Quebec, you're not going to know the word for
It's
this.
ham in a
Creton,
butter
merci,
form.
c'est creton. Creton. Yep, that's it.
But creton is an existing. No, I'm thinking of croutons.
Not croutons. Cretons. Yeah, creton.
Anyway, yeah, it's a fucking ham spread. It's like ham if ham was peanut butter.
And I didn't know that was a thing, and I had someone else like, yeah, all right, that's pretty good. I can see.
That's fine. I'm not a big fan.
I can see, like, you know, again, old French people sitting around just being like that's how you pass your time in retirement, is spreading creton on
Yeah, and
various,
smoking.
yeah, with your May West and your Pepsi. Yeah, no, it was not that was all right too. So all in all, not bad. But I guess just like the level of like I like the diabetes demon inside is like, oh, are you summoning
like horrible
me?
nightmares?
It can, yes, it does. The way
how'd you sleep?
The way I was okay, but the way you fight it is with like you chug water. Essentially, if you chug water, you dilute all of that. But no, that demon is awakened by the maple. But yeah, no, that was cool, and I'm gonna be just like going through this syrup fog for the next couple days, I think.
Yeah, it's not a sugar high the same way, and because it affects your sugar differently. Maple syrup, for some reason, affects your sugar differently rather than like sucrose or sucralose. But like, yeah, no, there's definitely a fog. There's definitely like a
There's a little bit of that, like there's almost like a hangover to it.
Yeah,
is the way I describe it. Yeah. And if you get the again, maple butter, which it's exactly what it sounds like, but it's just incredible. Like, yeah, you know.
Me and Paige were having breakfast this morning, and we just had eggs and toast, like super simple breakfast, right? And we're putting butter on our toast, right? Like simplest, most normal thing in the fucking world. And I'm sitting there and going like, man, it's so fucking bullshit that when I was a kid, butters fucks your shit up. Butter's terrible for you. Yeah. I lived in a margarine exclusive household.
Yeah.
Literally no butter. Every single thing was margarine.
We had margarine for years, but we switched over. There was a switch over that happened.
Well, because butter is bad for you, except it's not. Margarine's actually worse for you.
I mean, again, we've had that discussion multiple times, but it's like that and is milk good for you? Who the fuck knows?
Probably.
And yeah, the various degrees of like dairy and its effect on you and shit, just going back and forth.
I can tell you with an absolute certainty that non-pasteurized whole milk can be bad for you. I know Liver King might tell you that pasteurization removes the nutrients, but you know what else it might remove? Fucking cow and cholera. You don't want cholera, do you?
Well, that's not.
I don't want fucking cholera.
That's not a very primal attitude of you. How are you supposed to be alpha with that?
Dude looks like a human sunburn.
I feel as if that like just anyone that had to live through an era of like discovering things about foods that were unknown up until that point, that must suck, man. You know,
I don't know who to trust, man. I don't like. So Lunchables are fucking.
So I was about to say, like, there's always Lunchables. You can trust Lunchables.
Okay, so Lunchables are crock full of lead. Milk, it was bad for me. Then milk was good for me, and then milk, well, I don't know. And like, it reminds me of like one of Lewis Black's.
Is milk good for you or not? Yeah.
No, are eggs good for you?
Okay, because he had he had a bit about milk, and it's like, is it good? Is it not? It was, and then it wasn't. And
but he also had one like are eggs good or bad? And the crowd just goes like, I have watched eggs flip flop like 5 times since I was a child.
Welcome to post-truth politics, bro.
I don't.
That's
I don't fucking care for it.
That's where
man.
we live, dude. There's no way to know. That's all disinformation on Lunchables, who, the Lunchables company stands by the brand. Like, no matter what never mind the reports of the lead or anything, they stand by, then they confidently support the
Bro,
brand.
you want to have a good time, type in like, hey, I'm thinking of getting this stroller or car seat or whatever, and you type in the company name for your baby product, and like invariably a news article about the lawsuit over a would-be recall comes out. Like, invariable. To the point where you have to be like, well, this article about a lawsuit is 8 years old. That's pretty far away. They probably fixed all the... And just...
Yeah, that's bad. That I don't even know where to go from that, because it's like, okay, so what is there the recall, is that a specific type of product, or is that to all of them?
Stroller reviews, and there was one where it's like there was a lawsuit against a fucking company because the fucking wheels in 2013 would fly off the stroller, and some babies fell all the way out of the stroller and broke bones.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm just like, I just want to get a nice stroller.
Is it all of the EVs that are going to have the gas pedal that shoots off and then slides and creates a death trap? Or is it just the Cybertruck? Is it what kind of recall are we talking about here? Is it Tesla-wide, or is it just the little groove underneath the Cybertruck gas pedal?
I am like,
what's the level of recall we're talking about, guys?
I'm so obsessed with the Cybertruck, dude. I follow a guy on TikTok who his entire account is... Okay, so this Cybertruck flipped over in a pothole. This going 15 miles an hour. It somehow totally inverted itself. Or my personal favorite, driving along after its delivery, and every light in the world starts flashing on the inside, goes pull over immediately, and the acceleration doesn't turn off.
Just wanted a thing that didn't get stupid on the gas. That's all I want. That's all. I'm one of those people that's like, yeah, when I get into the game and when I'm getting into driving and all that shit, I want something that's more battery oriented than fucking gas oriented. And I'm like,
hey, listen, man, the best part about the Cybertruck is that it is the Xbox 360 of trucks in regards to its exterior chassis, because you can't let it get wet.
Yeah, the rust,
because it's stainless steel with no primer on it. So like every Cybertruck in the world is gonna look like a rusted brown fucking butter knife by next year.
So when the shit kids are taunting the animals, when the cars and the baby seats are being recalled, and when you can't trust whether you can eat butter, milk, or eggs, and you can't trust anything.
But we have each other, and isn't that all we really need?
More importantly, that's when you turn to Nikke. That's when you turn. That's when you turn to the
goddess of victory.
The goddess of victory. You just turn to the phone, and that's the place to put.
Is this where you tell me you've been playing Nikke on your phone this week?
I've been playing some Nikke.
All right, let's talk about Nikke, goddess of victory.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? That game's all right. That ain't bad.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, it's all right. I like it. It's not bad. The shooting is you peek, you shoot. It's reminiscent of some of those old like wild guns or like any kind of cover
Gears of
shooter
War
thing.
without the fluff.
Cover shooting bits, exactly. I mean, again, you go back before Gears of War, you get wild guns, you get Sin and Punishment, I guess, but that's more of a rail thing. Boss fights are pretty cool. You know, you're like, yeah, and then you're switching between these different party members on the squad, and then the grenade launch or the rocket launcher you charge up, and that one's got a shotgun. You're like, oh shit, okay. And then you've got the automatic fire mode, just in case your fingers are getting in the way of jiggling booty, because you can't appreciate the jiggling.
Just in case.
You know, you can't. The 2D live anime booty needs to be like your fingers are in the way while you play. So
yeah, no.
So it's quite interesting because again, as someone who's like, you know, toe dipping in and out here and there, I have a perspective on mobile games that is coming from, I guess, like the world of, you know, some Tappen and then some ridiculous fishing a million years ago and some ports of things that we care about. But this is the first like game I've played, I guess, that's a more recent modern mobile game where there's giant, super expensive, high budget anime cutscenes playing. Music is through the roof. AAA production, menus over the top.
Because you didn't touch any of the MiHoYo shit.
None of the Hoyo nothings. Yeah, so I'm just like, wow, look at the money go every 2 seconds as it jumps from medium to medium, and it's like, I guess this must be standard now, but
no, that's something I'm going to talk about in my section.
Okay. Because it's like, wow, look at that. There's a loading screen as you have multiple mandatory updates. And I couldn't, actually, so when I got it first last week, I couldn't play because there was a service period for a couple days that, like, you know, whatever. But then it was, after it fixed, it's like, there's always, every time you boot it, there's an update. Every time you boot it, there's a mandatory download.
They're all like that.
It takes forever. You can't just boot and play. Like, it's wild how much.
So, like, there's a really genius aspect to that. Where, like, say you're like, I'd like to play Punishing Gray Raven, and you click on it, and it downloads on your phone in 1 second, and you're like, that's crazy. I can't. Oh, it got on. That's the downloader. That's the
every time
that's the exe file that just to get the icon on your phone. Because then you hit it, and they're like, we're downloading 20 gigs.
Yeah. And then that completes, and then you get your you know, stylish anime title screen. Which I'm like, this is only going to stay minimalist and stylish for like a half second before you start throwing gacha windows aggressively at me, right? And it's like, well, no, we're going to put you through the tutorial first, but then yes, afterwards. Yeah. So going through that, I was like, oh yeah, this is actually, again, not bad. It's you're looking at the highest quality PNGs bouncing and jiggling and, you know, live 2D'ing their way at you.
Like, I would say so I haven't put time into Nikke yet, but from what I could see, I would describe that as going so far as to be accurately described as flopping.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
they very much are. You know, yeah.
Ass jiggling.
It's like sometimes in games, there'll be a thing where, so Dragon's Dogma 2 has this, where like if you load up a character model on the pause screen and then you switch over to like a pawn, like you'll see as the pawn loads in from T-pose, there'll be just an instant jiggle.
Yeah.
And like you can switch to another character and switch back to them, and it's like, oh, jiggle.
Absolutely.
Right? That little gravity is
that is the same internal game logic mechanism as picking up a fucking object in Skyrim and having every object on the table teleport up 1 inch and drop.
Right, okay. Just yeah. So that it feels like everyone you're talking to, all the Nikkes in every cutscene are all just constantly doing that. They're all, you know, with their really perfect gestures, just bouncing their way up and down.
Hey
and
man,
talking at you.
I'm glad to hear that you don't have Nikke phobia.
Is that a thing? I see.
That is a term in that game for people who irrationally hate the Nikke.
Oh no, Nikke derangement syndrome. Uh-oh. Yeah, no. I don't have any of that. I'm fine. But
That's really genius. Like an in-universe thing for like, I can't believe people don't like us. They're discriminating against our fat asses.
I mean, the last commander was an asshole. He was the worst. What a jerk. Good thing he got himself killed. And also, yeah, and then on top of that, that's why we have to rotate every 3 missions. You can't have commanders and their Nikkes working on too many consecutive missions together because things get really dicey. You know, so yeah, it's etc. Whatever, Commander, Pisan, whatever name you want to call.
In Arc Knights, it's the Doctor. There's always some kind of.
Oh man, yeah, and you know they definitely introduce you to your gamut of personalities right off the bat, and you know it actually has a pretty it's like an interesting intro sequence that gets the game started. As you have like the one you're paired with, and then some of the other supporting characters start to join. But something interesting is that, like, so for me, I guess, weirdo that I fucking am when it comes to these things, I see the presentation of various waifus. You've got the You've got the pure of heart, like, you know, just genuine one that cares about you and will fiercely, you know,
the girl next door.
Stand up for, yes, but she will fiercely stand up for you if anyone badmouths you. You know, you've got the aloof goofball who's like, let's get out of here. We don't want to die. Fuck that. And like, you know, just being all goofy, and you can hear or feel the little fang that should be sticking out of her mouth, even though she doesn't have one, right? And then you've got the dead serious, you know, the Nimmu Kanryo, like the perfect, I'm just going to be a soldier, yada, yada, by the book type. And, you know, so you take your whole pick. And in the process of them showing up, and then you got your calm girl who's like, hey, I'm the you know, the happy-go-lucky CO. And then they introduce like the grunts who join the team, and they're just like the background soldier Nikkes, the girls that they don't matter, but they're wearing helmets and face covered suits and like just uniforms and with their weapons and shit. And I'm like, I want to hang out with them. I want the nondescript ones that are completely meant to be disposable. Forget about them. They're not main characters. Their faces are hidden ones. Are the ones that look the sickest. They have like
it's a mass produced.
They're so much cooler than the main ones that are like, you know, the main ones look like whatever, you know, like
they're wearing fucking plug suits.
Yeah, because you have like the you have like the Xenosaga looking type, you know, it says like
that's just Cosmos.
You have the VTuber types and then and such, and then you've got a couple that are just like, yeah, they're wearing full uniforms, and then I'm like, or like Zero Suit type shit with a weapon and a cool helmet, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually more interesting to me. So when it does its like roll where you're like, here's a bunch of squads and you get all these characters, and then like the C rank garbage low tier ones are like these helmeted uniformed ones, and I'm like, that's the cool shit. Give me that. I want the low tier garbage ones.
This
please.
Sounds like the kind of talk from somebody who should have gotten into Nikke when they had the Nier Automata.
I mean, perhaps
crossover.
But it's interesting because like, as someone who's like, I want helmets and armor, and I like the ones that are like suited up in that way. All the main expensive outfits and costumes and things, I'm just like, this bounces right off of me. I don't care about, you know, going into or spending on any of that shit. I want the low rank free shit.
I want the generics, please.
Give me the grunts, man. The grunts rule. It's so much cooler. Hell yeah. So that's a funny, like, you know, like you're looking at them as if these limited ones are like one per case, and here's 19 grunts, and I'm like, I want a squad of all grunts, please. That aside though, like, yeah, it's legitimately, it's pretty fun. The cover system, and again, your different types of enemies, and it works out. It uses the vertical screen in a way that I think.
So I loaded it up to get the download in, and I was shocked because it is the only one that I have on my phone that's like, yeah, vertical. Play it vertical.
It does make sense. And like, there's times where you're like, oh, I feel as if like I can't see enough to the left or to the right, but that's where you switch between the different ones on the bottom, and like they're all lined up in a row, so some can cover one side better than others, you know. And then yeah, there's like some missions that are just, again, like your wild gun style mission, like your what you're shooting at a boss that's like a train that's going by, and like everyone can like target different areas and do different specific abilities and yada yada. So I was like, yeah, that as long as the gameplay itself is fun and moving through it is fun to do in addition to or regardless of whatever the gacha shit is. I'm like, yeah, I'm down to spend some time with this, but like I can't see the way its current appeal system works like getting me to spend a single solitary cent on any of that shit, because that is just not what I'm looking for.
It's just not to. It's like here's a bunch of tulips, and you're like, I really like the vase that these tulips came
straight
in.
up. I mean, like, you know, I don't know what to say, but that aside, though, I guess I'm gonna have to go a couple more missions because you're also like railed aggressively onto like, so you do a tutorial act and then you do like tutorial training, and then there's like a solid maybe hour of rails, I'd say, before you can do your own thing. Yeah, I still don't know about like the full like list of currencies and crafting things and all that stuff, and I don't really want to. All I want to do is just shoot the gun.
There is the reality of all of these games that have any free-to-play elements to them at all is drowning in currency. Absolutely drowning in currency.
I'm waiting to see where I'm going to run out of energy or run out of life, or just you can't play anymore until you go buy this, or you have to wait for your daily healing or something. But
they'll all hit you with that at some point.
I haven't seen it yet, so perhaps I'm just still too early. But yeah, so far I've been able to walk around the map, and I'm looking for like, is there like a step counter that says, oh, you can't walk any further or some shit? And it doesn't seem like there is right now. So yeah.
Oh, people are saying Nikke does not have any stamina.
Okay.
It just gets hard.
There was an EX mission that popped up in the middle of a normal one, and like that thing was like, oh, you're not ready. You're didn't seem like I was just like underleveled for the challenge or whatever. But yeah, that seemed all right. I look forward to various appeals to I guess just like there's characters that are showing up that are like, here's your Commander General dude, and like he's also just like he's like the solid the military soldier man that's also kind of live 2D jiggling and has all that energy about him. And then there's the CEO lady who's also just, everyone's just blasted with that.
I have to admit, I was looking up some Nikke stuff as you were talking, and I was shocked. I was gobsmacked to see that men are in that game at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like astonished.
And the one that you meet is like, yeah, he looks like he's from this world. Like if they were to do their like dude Nikkes, then he would be one of them. He's barraying all over the place with his fucking perfect hair and chiseled everything. But anyway, yeah, I mean, not much to report on until I go further in. But so as far as I can say for now, I'm not going to start listing off names and the price tag of how much money I spent on each one. But we'll have to see. I think I think the 2B near stuff is all like gone forever anyways,
yeah,
right?
It's gone. So there's
okay.
like this segues perfectly into, so I got the new phone. Hello, new phone. And I have a story about that phone later. But I'm back to playing Honkai Star Rail because it runs perfectly at max settings on this phone, and I really, really liked Star Rail. And when I went back to it, it's the anniversary, and maybe this is just Star Rail, but I loaded it up, and it took me almost 2 hours just to click on every new, like there's a new thing button on the menu
to get through all the pop-ups.
No. Like in Honkai Star Rail, you have like a menu in game, which is like your cell phone. Your character pulls out their cell phone. Oh yeah,
that's in Nikke too. Yes.
Yeah, they all do it, and they have like, here's your mail, here's your achievements, here's your shit. Right. They added so much in the 6 months that I had not played the game that it took me hours
to
scroll
just
through
clear
the new features.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like every little icon with a red dot that's getting your attention on the main menu.
I have to click it. I have to.
Notifications, new updates,
and
fuck, man.
There are two that really stood out to me as actually being worthwhile to mention. One of which is that these types of games, these gacha phone games, tend to have limited events. So a really good example is Nikke had 2B show up. 2B was there for 25 days, whatever it was, right? 2B is gone now. Do you want to play as 2B in Nikke? Buy someone's account off eBay.
Yeah.
That is how, right? With Honkai Third Impact, Asuka was there for a couple of weeks. Do you want to play as Asuka? Time travel to 6 years ago, right? I load into Honkai Star Rail, and one of the biggest options they have is like, listen, here is a gigantic like tree of how every event and every quest feeds into each other with all their prerequisites, and you hit this button and here's every limited event that they have ever done that had any unique content at all, and it is here forever.
Oh, okay.
And I went, oh, that actually makes like a huge difference. That's
cool.
They had an event that was like a minor Pokemon game that they ran for a couple of weeks for rewards, and it was apparently pretty good. And I'm like, oh, well, it's a bummer. I feel like I can't go back to the game because I missed it. Yeah. No, it's still there.
Well, but the thing is everyone's usually going by the rules of the forced scarcity makes urgency, creates a sense of, oh fuck, I have to play it now, even if I don't. Yeah,
some of the time limited rewards are gone, but the ones that matter are still there, and the actual mode is still there. So like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is that not Genshin, but Honkai Star Rail has a stamina thing, which is like you have 240, you get 10 an hour. And you bang that out on your dailies, right? But I hadn't played in 8 months. I hadn't played in 7 months. And now they have a gigantic pool that your overlap leaks into. So since I hadn't played, like my daily energy just leaked into this gigantic fucking pool that represented like a month of that shit.
So I understand that that's a positive, that it didn't go to waste, but it's still like celebrating a cancerous system that is like not, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, the shitty thing that limits you is now pooling up in a way where it lets you play the way you probably should be able to play a game regularly. That's nice. You know, it's like that. I get it, but
I have been numbed to death by dailies and MMOs.
I still feel that. I still feel that. Look at it and go, this is disgusting and shitty and stupid. Like, I don't like oh, yay, today I'm getting quad bonus on my energy doesn't make me go, wow, look how generous they're being. You know? And I guess with that, I still have the feeling of like, as I'm booting this up and I'm looking at the event notices, the daily login like screen, and like the amount of shit you clear to get to the gameplay, which is, I know that this is the state of like phone games, and that's pretty much how that's been for a while now. I know that this is also the state of a lot of, you know, console and PC games as well. I just it creates a very negative response for me the moment I boot up a game and I have to get through all of that to get to the thing, you know?
Well, I should mention that in Star Rail and Genshin's particular points, and probably Zenless, the real game, i.e. side quests and main story content, and the vast majority of modes have nothing to do with the daily stamina thing.
Right.
That shit is only for grinding.
Right. Okay.
Like literally just for grinding content.
Well, I mean, for the longest while, I remember when talking about gacha, like to the audience and kind of learning about this, I was like, legit confused as to, I was like, wait, every time we talk about this stuff, it's just talking about like unlocking characters, SSRs and ratings and percentages. But I'm like, what is the actual game that you're playing, you know, in a lot of these cases? And I legit wasn't too sure, like with Fate and a couple of the other ones. I'm like, I don't know.
With Fate and Granblue, I was really confused for a really long time.
Yeah.
As to what those actually were.
I was watching my friend play the card game in Japan with, you know, that you put it would print out cards and then it would interact with the mobile game in some way, but it seemed like an auto battling kind of thing.
That's correct.
Yeah, and like when it's all like so I like the gacha element like can be dropped onto I get just about any genre, I suppose. And to me, it's like if that is dropped onto something that you really just don't play. Well, in this case, you can set the game to shoot for itself and do whatever. But yeah, I'm like, it can't just be collecting JPEGs. There has to be a fun game.
Yeah, no, we had a whole, it was like an hour and a half conversation about like, it has to be more than just the JPEGs.
Yeah, and the Hoyo stuff has had fun action, right? Is what you
Yeah,
were,
no, the
saying.
Hoyo stuff, if you're into the genre, they're really good. Like Star Rail is like a pretty goddamn good JRPG.
I can't. Oh boy, that is an unfortunate place for you to freeze.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
No!
Here, let me help you out there.
You can still hear me, right?
I can still hear you, but
fuck.
let me help you out there. That's really embarrassing. Okay.
Oh, come on!
Here, let's try to get Discord back on track for a second here.
Oh, my camera's back. I'm moving.
You're not moving for me.
Moving.
You're not.
This is bullshit.
This is in fact bullshit. Maybe drop the call and rejoin.
Okay, here we go. Bye.
Oh my god. Ooh. Okay. What's going on? Discord is struggling. Well, yeah. That might have to be a BRB, folks. I thought we could do this organically, but it seems like we're going to have to BRB. So, BRB. All right, there we go.
Sorry, I was using my daily energy there. No, I wasn't. I did that at 3 o'clock this morning.
It's always those like freeze frame moments that are like the chrétien faces.
Oh, that's a pull.
You know, but that's what I think of when I just think of like the screenshot of like the worst possible moment for the worst.
And I tell the protester, I'll kill you.
The Shawinigan handshake, yeah. No, but just how they would screenshot like his face in the worst possible moment in a sentence. In addition to the dude having a condition, that was just like, oh man, that it can't look any worse. All right, you're moving and you're back.
I remember there was like a big political ad. There's like where they took a photo of Chrétien like mid sentence, and because our former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, he had a stroke at some point in his life, so he had a little bit of droop face. And he's an older guy, and so like they took a photo where his head looked like it was melting apart, and they were like, "Is this the face you want for your prime minister?"
And like they do that,
it was a disaster.
They do that to everyone. Like they get any political bullshit. They get someone mid speech of going, to make them look stupid. But in his case, where he had a stroke, it was a bad
move. It did not work.
Yeah, no.
No, you wanted to make fun of Chrétien, you'd make fun of the fact that nobody who spoke English or French could understand a fucking thing he was saying. Couldn't speak either language.
Or that he like pulled an Undertaker and basically chokeslammed the motherfucker.
Yeah.
A protester. As if you were a striker at the latest WrestleMania. Anyway, so the Hoyo shit has actually decent gameplay. And,
absolutely.
And any of the games that I guess like are gacha on top of a visual novel, like I
mean, then it would depend on, hey, how do you like this visual novel?
I guess, but
so like this goes into something you were talking about earlier, where you're like, well, you're playing Nikke, and Nikke is fancy looking. Mm-hmm. Nikke is animated, and you're like, I guess this is the standard. It is absolutely not the standard. It is
interesting.
It is approximately a coin flip.
Interesting, because I fully expected to come here and go, "Wow, look at the money flying out of this fucking titty simulator, this titty jiggler."
So
and like I was expecting everyone to go, "Yeah, no shit, Wooly. Titty jigglers have been like this for 10 years now," and I'd be like, well.
So, MiHoYo versus games, which would be Honkai, with their modern games. Be Honkai, they'd be Genshin, they'd be Star Rail, and upcoming Zenless Zone Zero are like the like this is a real ass video game on your telephone levels of production. Then you have something like Punishing Gray Raven, and there's a one upcoming called Wuthering Waves, which is very annoying to try and say out loud in English.
All of these names, dude. What was Punishing what? Punishing Gray Wave?
Punishing Gray Raven.
Gray Raven. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Punishing Gray Raven sounds like an Armored Core.
It does. No. It does. Absolutely. It just like Goddess of Victory and such. Yeah.
But you want to talk about Wuthering Waves? That is just, god damn it. So these ones are like these is like a fucking PlayStation 4 game with like China or Korea like aesthetic on it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you know what? When I was like, hey folks, I got a new phone. By the way, people asking, it's a Galaxy S24 Ultra. What do I have to play on this? Like 40 people were like, dude, you got to play Arknights. Arknights is all I play on my phone. Like,
yeah, that I've heard of that thing. Mm-hmm.
So I load up Arknights, and Arknights starts out with fancy menus, good presentation, excellent art, visual novel kind of thing, and it loads up into like a fucking tower defense game that looks shittier than Plants vs. Zombies like 15 years ago.
Oh, this is top down.
Well, it's okay. Like... And like it's a bunch of like incredibly tiny little chibi like Rumblefish like Newgrounds looking Flash animation shit.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said too, I guess. And I think I've brought this up before when I forgot what the game was. There's a game that was played during the Game Awards where the characters were the game was shown off and the characters were all like so far away from the camera that you couldn't get a good look at what they actually looked like. And as someone who loves character design and shit, I'm like, this is bothering me because they're all just the top of their heads and the back of their shoulders, but I can't see you. I can't see what the art is. I can't see what was designed. You know, who am I using? So with the way that Nikke is set up, is like the character in cover and then shooting is right in your face, taking
it's right
up
there.
half the fucking screen. You can't miss the character's design.
That's
everything
what
about
MiHoYo
them.
does. They're like, listen, you're gonna roll on this character. You're gonna fucking do your passes or whatever the fuck the gacha equivalent is. Here's a fully 3D model with full voice acting and a shit ton of animations that fills up like a third of your fucking screen when they're there.
Yep. This tiny shit is just, I hate that. It doesn't.
It's a very specific thing. So like, I'm gonna send you a fucking tweet about Path to Nowhere. Somebody recommended me a game called Path to Nowhere, and I just sent you the tweet, and it's got like 4 images in there, and they're like, hey man, it's a tower defense. It's really cool. I love the art style.
Okay.
Right, and so you click on it, and it's like got a bunch of portraits, got some visual novel art.
That's very pretty art. Yeah,
it's very pretty, right?
Yeah.
To which I like looked the game up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And this is what the game looks like. This is what the game actually looks
just
like.
Grid super far.
It's a grid with the super tiny characters. And like I shit on chibi art style, but I think like a way bigger deal is like, man, these are tiny characters. Like how do you expect me to fucking sit here and go, I got a whale for these waifus?
Yeah.
When you can't even see the waifus.
And the thing is, like, even a game like One Step from Eden, where they're doing Battle Network style, a similar angle to this screenshot, but you can still get a really good look at the character, even as they're moving along the blocks here. It's like, just because your camera's here doesn't mean everything needs to be this zoomed out. You know, it doesn't mean every asset needs to be that small. Like
Nikke understands what it's doing, and Nikke is very honest. It might be one of the most honest games I've ever seen, because they're like, do you want to see a bunch of these chicks fire a gun? Did you watch that video of a girl with huge boobs firing a sniper rifle in fucking, what's it called? High School of the Dead?
Oh, with the
then boy, do we got a game you can play on your phone.
No, it's real. Even I feel as if even like 13 Sentinels, right, which was just mentioned, it's like that's a game where the combat is like all abstract and zoomed out, and you're looking at portraits on a basically a war room, diorama. But there's a whole visual novel like conversation section where you're walking and talking, and you get to see the characters, so you don't feel like you're missing out on that. That here, I'm sure, is like cutscenes in between story as well. But
the visual novel.
But I guess it's like, it's in 13 Sentinels, it's a full third of the game, right? Like in this case, if you're going to split it up in that way, it needs to be a significant portion and not just kind of like the lead in and out of each one of these missions. It's hard to care when you can't see the fucking characters.
Yeah, so like, and one of the other things is like a huge proportion of these have visual novel elements. And I mean, that's fine if they have a good story and you like them, to go for it. Visual novels are great. But I feel like particularly with the telephone games, when somebody says you should check this out, I should just say out loud, by the way, I hate Danganronpa, so we can just delete 2/3 of this entire fucking genre from my consideration.
That's great. I love Danganronpa. That shit's awesome. But
I couldn't make it. I talked about it on the podcast like a year ago. I literally could not make it more than like 10 minutes into the intro of Danganronpa 1. It was like, I'm the best. He's the best baseballer, and she's the. I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm done. I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, hyper goofy, insane, exaggerated visual novel into Phoenix Wright case arguing gameplay, but it's far and few in between. It's mostly just antics.
It's a murder mystery, and I fucking love murder mysteries. But if I got into the game and every single person who died had me going, yeah, good, awesome. So should have gotten the rest of them.
Well, it's a death game in addition to being the murder mystery, right? Yeah. I mean, the other element too is like the way you do logic arguing and stuff is pretty fun. It's like, oh, like they're gonna say a bunch of shit.
Totally.
Shoot down that word. That's the key word you need to fucking refute. Okay, here we're gonna follow the logic path, train of thought.
Isn't the subtitle of the first one like Trigger Happy Havoc?
Yeah, and the truth bullet. Danganronpa is like a pun on the idea
cool.
of a truth bullet. It's firing from the gun, and so everything in the HUD is loading up a 6-shooter with bullets of truth and then firing the ammunition while someone's like lying to defend their case. It is, yeah. Or something like that.
But yeah, no, it is definitely not the standard. There is a on your telephone, there is a wider chasm in between visual styles and visual fidelity than in any console generation that has ever been. You run the gamut all the way from could release right now on PlayStation 5, like the ones that have released right now on the PlayStation 5.
Right.
And you have game that, like in Grand Blue's case, is literally a browser game.
And it's all the more reason why when you see that actual screenshot where shit's all super tiny and you can't see anything, but you're supposed to not just give a fuck, but like care enough to spend money collecting
that's
extra
the part.
Assets and costumes and shit for these characters.
It's like the trick to the whole genre is you want me to think that character is cool enough that I'm going to make a dumb purchasing decision because that character looks really cool. But when I'm like, I can't even see the fucking character, like how, and that like, I want the characters to be cool enough that I like them so I can see them. It's a very specific thing for just this genre.
Is Nikke like one of many, or is that the only one?
I don't know of anything that's like Nikke.
Because again, Nikke seems to, it has this like, it has the button up top left where when the jiggling gets too much for you and you need to do something about it, you can just turn on autoplay.
Too much.
When you're just like, all right. You can hit the auto shoot and then auto super as well, and then turn it back off, So I'm like, I don't know if there's anything else that is as honest about what it's doing. But that feels, again, right out of the page of Rumble Roses with the mud wrestling mode with the skin-colored mud and one-handed controls.
I had a really funny moment talking about, like, bitching about Arknights. Well, not bitching. Like, I'm not angry at the game. I'm just like, what? And I'm like, you know what they should do? I hear Arknights is really popular. They should just take all their Arknights money and they should make a version of Arknights that's like a real video game and looks like a real video game. To which someone informed me that I had actually watched a trailer on one of the Game Awards shows of a game called Arknights Enfield, which is literally exactly that.
Okay.
It is the same fucking game, but it looks like a PS4 game.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, they should do the thing that they're currently doing, yes. I guess.
That's what I would say about Grand Blue, and then Relink happens, right? That's exactly it. It's like,
hey, I wanna respond to a comment I just saw in the chat, which is Pat is wrong about Arknights. It's really fun. I need to be so clear. I'm not saying Arknights is bad. I'm not saying it's not fun. I didn't get that far. I'm saying that if it's a free game and I download it, it is up to that game to pull me in and be excited to play it for more than 5 minutes. And if it doesn't, it just gets deleted off my phone. No harm, no foul. Somebody sent me, I'm going to play a game called Limbus Company this week on stream, and somebody sent me, Saren sent me a 20-minute tutorial video. It was like, well, the in-game tutorial is not so good. I'm like, this makes me want to delete the game off my phone right now.
Okay.
It's Limbus Company's job to hook my ass in 5 minutes. I'm not watching no 20-minute video tutorial.
Or gameplay tutorial, but it's highlighting sections of the screen to tap, so you might as well be watching a video. Okay, question for the universe, question for Shivers out there. What is the least scummy feeling of these types of gacha things? Like, what's the game that is like the most direct and honest feeling right off the bat? You boot right in, you don't have to get through too much bullshit, you get to some gameplay, and it's like, go over here if you want to get some other stuff, but the game is still primarily the game, and that's the focus of your attention. And then,
I mean, I'm not an expert. Definitely not. People are saying Limbus Company.
Some people are saying Genshin. And then most people are saying really, none, actually. Most people are saying none. Yeah, all right.
So like I remember playing, like I played like a full afternoon or like full evening of Star Rail before I encountered any of the gacha shit. And then they flood you with free shit, like free characters that you can use to free to play your way through the game.
Well, was that afternoon all an on-rail tutorial?
No, it was the first dungeon.
Oh, playing openly.
Side shit opened up.
Okay. Because I remember when you were when we talked about Runeterra, for example, and it was like, oh my god, it gives you so much shit, right?
Runeterra is like the anti-nightmare, if that makes any sense.
Right.
In which Runeterra was so fair that it is no longer going to be supported.
Okay.
They're the single player parts of Runeterra are ongoing, but they are not going to be making like new expansions for the competitive card game anymore, because there's no reason for you to ever spend any money in it.
But like the energy was generally pleasantly surprised, expected to get ripped off, but turns out they're giving you more than you can handle in terms of just collecting stuff. And then there's the Vampire Survivors style. I'm expecting to be nefariously pulled into possible small places to microtransact or do things, and it's like, no, that's here. This is actually just a game, and you click and walk around and all that, but it's not, loot boxes are not really loot boxes.
Yeah, it's kind of a Darwinian market. Somebody in the chat summed it up really well, because the types of these games that are like super fair get left in the dirt by the ones that are like just unfair enough that people don't mind.
Okay.
But they make money, and the ones that are crazy unfair also don't do that well, because
fuck that,
everybody just feels ripped off all the time.
But there surely
there's like a balancing point.
But there's fans of this that must have gone, we're making our own with blackjack and hookers, and they went and they did, and it was fair, but it was too fair, and then it didn't make enough money, and then that's it.
Yeah, and so like then you get weird stuff where, like, I believe Punishing Grey Raven and Wuthering Waves are made by people who used to work at MiHoYo.
Okay.
And when you look at Wuthering Waves and you look at gameplay, you're like, wow, they stole every interface element from MiHoYo. Like the color, the size of every interface element, the shape of the stars on the character, like stolen. It's hilarious.
I mean, Marvel rivals to Overwatch levels of yeah. I feel legit curious about just like, what is that sweet spot of please spend money over here, but like, if we don't bother you and annoy you at least somewhat, you're never gonna actually do it. And for some people that are more immune to the push, it needs to be FOMO bucks. We need to create a real sense of like, fuck, I don't really feel good about this. I don't like, how many people that have like not even wailed, but just like occasionally like dolphined, I guess, you know what I mean? Like grabbed a couple things. Like, how many people are like, yeah, I don't regret spending what I've spent on this. Who feels good about what they've collected up to this point? That's what I wonder if that's out there,
Yeah, I know a wide variety of people all over that gacha spectrum.
Okay.
People who play exclusively free to play, which you can occasionally hit roadblocks, but the games, the good ones anyway, provide like enough for you to pull through. Ones that get like the monthly sub essentially, or a monthly pass, which is like $5.
Right, pay for itself, yeah.
And then what they do is they save up like 90 to 100 days worth of shit, and then they go, when something they really desperately want drops, they just blow it to make sure they get the pity, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I also there was somebody in this fucking chat earlier that said I used to play 5 gachas and had to stop entirely due to financial things.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, that you shouldn't do that. You should just not. Dude, you should not engage with these.
Because it feels as if there's that
was in the prelude before the podcast started.
Mm-hmm. Well, because just the feeling of like, I've been playing this for months or perhaps even a year or so, and the whole time I've just gone with what I've earned, and I haven't spent anything on it, so I feel good about the fact that I haven't, given in or gotten ripped off by that. Mm-hmm. But then you're like, okay, you eventually see something and you're just not going to have enough time or credits to get it, and you're like, it's a feeling of like relinquishing, like, oh, fine, you got me, where that is not fine, you got me is a not good thing to have a feeling associated with a game. I don't like that. I don't like when I buy something going like, oh, fucking all right. I did that. Even I think I did that with like Overwatch 1 originally, with some of the costume shit there, but there are times where, like, when there was it was like Street Fighter V's like bundle of like, here's a stage, here's some costumes, and here's the extra like fight bucks or whatever, and then this is going to go towards the tournament prize pot itself or whatever you're contributing. And I was like, oh yeah, happily, I have no problem supporting that.
Yeah.
I would.
The people that seem the happiest that I know playing the Star Rail's the one that I know the most people who play. Are the ones that are honest with themselves, and they go, once a year or once X amount of time, I will allow myself to throw $100 into this for that whole period.
Right. Okay.
Or people who basically treat it like a subscription.
Okay.
Like if it's probably wildly unshocking to you that a huge proportion of my friends that play Final Fantasy XIV are also on my Honkai Star Rail friends list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The same ingredients.
There's direct overlap.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I only played Nikke, but with the new phone, you must have covered a bunch of. So
what I've been doing is I've been playing the Honkai Star Rail anniversary event, which is enormous. It's I've the whole week of playing phone games has been literally diving into the Honkai Star Rail anniversary event, which is enormous, and catching up and grabbing like I had a bunch of roles saved up, so I got the banner character named Acheron, who is bananas. I got Dr. Ratio before he left, which I'm disappointed because there's a character named Dr. Ratio that is about right angles and like geometry.
Oh, boo!
But when I was told that the character was called Dr. Ratio, I don't know why I thought they were going to be a social media character.
Yeah, the modern redefinition of Ratio is so much better than the original.
And just like fucking rebuilding up that new team and going into simulated universe, blah 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 blah. This week, I'm going to be doing a stream in which I check out the 4 games that are most recommended to me on the telephone, but they all happen to have PC clients, so I don't have to stream off my phone because that's a nightmare, and I hate it.
Yep. Have you actually done it?
I did it once, and I was a wreck. I was a fucking wreck the whole time.
Yeah.
I was terrified the whole time.
Yeah. I did it for Teppen, and like I
also did it for Teppen. That's the game I did it for.
Turned off every notification, all things, the screen stay on, no calls can be made. Like, you go through it, but you're just like, but what if?
Like I was talking about
mom calls me right now
stream like a day or two ago, and I'm like, I start to stream off my phone, and I'm 100% certain that my mom is trying to send me like a fucking care package in the mail, and the text message comes up and goes, "Is this still the street you live on?" And then like your address, and it's in the drop down, like.
And then just dick pics you never took are just suddenly happening.
That's not even my dick.
Yeah, all of it. No, I know. It was quite worrisome.
Nerve-wracking. But yeah, so I'm gonna play Limbus Company. I'm gonna play Nikke. I'm gonna play a game called AFK Journey, which someone warned me about its chemical use in that it gives you the good chemicals, and Punishing Grey Raven.
Away from keyboard journey?
That's right.
Okay.
It's an auto battler.
Okay.
And Punishing Grey Raven is the one that I'm by far the most interested in, because it's basically a character action game.
Okay.
That you can play on your phone. And all of this, let's be honest, is just me. Actually, I'm excited for Zenless Zone Zero to come out, which I've done more research on, and I've discovered what kind of game it is.
Oh, because you asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely up my alley in terms of style and the trailers I've watched, but I didn't think you were interested in it.
Yeah, I'm extremely interested in it because it's Hades.
Oh, gameplay-wise, no kidding. Okay.
It's Hades from behind the back, like
I saw
character action.
Yeah, I saw that it was a third-person action thing, and I was like, all right, I'm content with that.
It's the primary mode for it is roguelike.
No shit, that's pretty cool. Well, that's a great fucking basic game genre to go into for something that looks incredibly stylish. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
these telephone games, crazy.
That aggressively now has my attention. Then, like, I was like, it looks cool, but the fact that it's Hades, that's pretty sick. Okay.
Yeah, it's Hades, and then instead of so like your basic mode's a roguelike where you'll be going through. Okay, it's not. This is a very frustrating thing where I look at something and I go, oh, this reminds me of this, and I go, it's like this. And I now look down and see a bunch of people in all caps screaming, "It's not like Hades at all!"
Oh, trust. That's
and
me.
it's like, wait, it's
that's me every day.
It's not. I thought, because I watched like an hour and a half of footage, and it really did quite look like you were going room to room with buffs that you would get in between individual encounters and with your character, and you would fight enemies in an action. How is that not like Hades?
Yeah. So I'm just like, I was loading up Nikke to try and get the names of the characters I was referring to, and like most of them don't even have names. They're just called Soldier FA. Well,
they're generics. They don't need names.
Yeah, or like Soldier 08 or Product 08. I think it's like just literally like nothing. So anyway. All right, I got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my squad list to find the ones I care about. Beyond that...
It's a strange problem to have.
I'm down, because it means it'll never be expensive. It means it'll never be that much credits or whatever coins to fucking buy this shit if I do want to get anything. But keep hating on the things I think are cool, please. I have no problem with that.
I was talking because you play. Do you still play Tekken like regularly, or is it just like a?
Not recently, no. Because I know they had a big update with like rival schools, I think. But I haven't played it since Virgil.
Like, how did you interact with that game's like systems for getting new cards? Like, there's a crafting thing in there.
There's basically by fighting enough and high ranking enough stuff and matches, you build up like essentially like experience currency, which you can then go and convert into packs, and then you can buy like giant groups of packs at a time, and you get all the new cards, and then any duplicates get turned into you can turn duplicates into a currency that you can use to buy a specific card.
Yeah, that's extremely familiar to me.
Yeah. So by playing a whole bunch, I'd basically be able to like formulate a deck around whatever cards I was able to buy for that season, and then for there'd usually be like one or two cards that you would need to like make the whole strategy work out, and then I would just like, okay, like trade in that or convert.
Did you use the free gift packs?
Yeah, all the time, constantly.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because somebody told me you didn't, and I'm like, that's insane. No one would ever turn down the free gift pack.
No. Every
that's
time.
got to be a lie.
There was I think like once or twice when like I missed it, because there's like you have a limited time to open it, and if you don't open it within whatever amount of days from when you get it.
Yeah, I know there's something like that for Honkai right now, where people are like, if you do the vignette of the cups event, you get a free character. I'm like, I'm not gonna get to that event in time. It's like 22 days away, but I have to do the entire remainder of the game story in order to do that.
Oh, Jesus.
Not gonna happen.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that aside, you fucking see X-Men 5? Yeah. Okay. So
I saw it last week, but oh no, it must have been after the podcast because the way the shit rolls out, it just feels like forever ago.
Okay. Well, hey, little bit of spoilers if you have not seen the latest X-Men episode of X-Men 97 5, because that's a big one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That is one of the best half an hours of television I've ever seen. Animated ever. I can't believe how, not just like never mind how good it like the actual hype moments are, and like how well choreographed the fight is, and all the shit that builds up, and the musical direction like, just I'm in awe of the pacing of how many things happen and they don't feel
like
rushed.
It was an hour long.
It's so crazy that many things happened in one episode and none of it felt rushed. Everything felt like it had time to breathe. The entire Rogue Magneto relationship had time to breathe. The Gambit thing, the tensions, the proper introduction of Genosha on the ground, not just flying over it type of thing. Establishing the culture of Genosha, like the kind of like the same way you walk through Wakanda type of thing. Like, all of that happened in fucking 30 minutes,
Everything got its space. And everything got its time. Everyone got their moment.
They spent time having a full dance number in an awesome like club scene that's beautiful and lit, and Rogue's got one of the best fan service designs I think she's ever had. Coming floating down as the queen, so to speak, and then all of that, and there is still time for an incredibly dramatic fight with Master Mold and the Sentinels and the Gambit scene. Like, wow, just holy fuck, what a good episode of television.
So it does something really like kind of incredible, because you've got an episode that deals with the Genosha and Genoshan culture and the political situation of mutants, and then it starts to deal with Rogue and Magneto and Gambit and this whole love triangle, all this fucking mess, right? And it feels like the whole episode is dedicated to this very complex interpersonal relationship, interspersed with this like regional like experience with Genosha, right? And like it is building on this, and like there's no reason you had any expectation other than the remainder of that episode was going to be the fallout between Rogue and Gambit and their interpersonal drama, because that would have felt totally appropriate.
Yeah. And
it would have been a good episode that you would have remembered, because it was the interpersonal stakes were so dramatic.
Yes, and then perhaps with an introduction to the whatever bullshit the Hellfire Club is going to get up to, because they're going to get up to some shit.
Always,
and the like the cost of apples and all that being like something they'll probably zoom in on like what lurks beneath the surface,
Right.
And not at all.
Psych, bitch.
Insane fucking, it all goes to shit immediately. You don't even have time to go into like the if there's a dystopian element to Genosha's running, because like a mass casualty event just goes down, and you know, obviously you kind of have to look at it and go, Magneto is being too good right now. There's got to be something to break him off this path, right? There's got to be a catalyst. A moment has to occur. And the way it's done, where it's like, oh yeah, this is going to shake him up, but it's the statue of fucking Xavier
it's
falling on the fucking falls on the crowd.
It's so brutal. It's so fucked.
Like, and you're like, oh my god, and it's happening in a way where you're like, oh, is this that moment where they're gonna fly in and say no? Actually, it's horrendous. The giant look at Professor Xavier is the thing that just flattens a crowd of mutants.
It has
brutal.
The strongest statement from the showrunner or the animators of almost anything I've ever seen of we are no longer fucking around energy.
Yes, and coming into this show, I can't stress how much my expectations were yo, you know when you boot up what the fuck was it called? Christian White had Sonic recently. Mania, right? And you're like, yeah, just deliver on the Sonic we remember and do it really well, and it'll be awesome, it'll feel good, and it'll be a lot of fun, you know? And then that's kind of here. I'm like, oh, so far X-Men 97 is great. It's just as we talked about it in the recent weeks.
Exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Right, a really solid revisit to that old thing and all the nostalgia and so on. But it's actually better because we're having some cool choreography, some fun fan service, some fun shit that only works to harken back to that era. Great. And then it is going so far and beyond and exceeding that. And this is an establishing moment of okay, yeah, this is not just hey, remember the whole show and the old show and that's it. It's going beyond that. I highly applaud the fact that it's we've had 4 episodes of cool, I remember, that was great. And now we're going places, and if it continues at this type of pace, it's just a fucking incredible, solid new entry into X-Men, period, and not just harkening back.
It's I was thinking about maybe I could compare it to Transformers, the animated movie, because of the fucking wipeouts, people getting wiped out in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably the most sudden and vicious of anything, because you don't even see the attack. it goes from green effect to unconsciousness and flame.
Yeah, you get Cable running out to give the warning, you know, and then it's it's because it's transitioning right out of the club scene, obviously, but it also happens in such a way where, as it's starting out, it's okay, that's a that's a crazy escalation, but we're still gonna get the band together and we're gonna for another 5 minutes and fucking save everybody in really cool ways, right?
you get the moment that there's a bunch of shit in that final sequence that is just excellent, but it's very clear that the people making the show needed to establish that the stakes for this scene were different than they usually are for X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
For the because you said, you expect oh no, okay, where's everybody? Okay, we're gonna get the gang, and it's so what's the first thing that happens? Banshee is flying by going, well, you have to leave, and he gets hit by a beam and crashes into a building, but he's gone off camera, and you're oh man, poor Banshee. And then an atom bomb goes off where he hits, and you're oh, Banshee got 6 words and he is dead. He is fucking dead.
I mean, I'm looking at fucking Nightcrawler yo, there he is. Oh no, please, no, not like this. Yeah. I mean, I think I talked about hey, how sick would it be if there was set up to get into an Age of Apocalypse or something like that? But it feels as if the steer is towards not necessarily something that dramatic, but certainly at least as far as Genosha is concerned, a major planetary event of some kind going. I don't know what arc you go into from this, if you even still follow previous ones or if you just go into brand new territory. But
it is a adaptation of the Chris Claremont run.
But the yeah, and I just like looking at how one thing that's really cool too is how much they really are they know how the idea of like a fastball special is super sick, and so there's multiple just like team up double tech moments,
all over the place,
lighting up the claws and fucking just everything with Gambit and all these double techs occurring, or finding new ways to like use the powers and shit. I mean, the previous episode with the video game reference stuff, which was pretty cool, Future Jubilee doing like advanced
stupid shit,
advanced
powers,
fireworks powers.
Okay.
Like, skating around and making blade shields and
how come you don't do this, Jubilee? Come on, get on it.
No, that'd be that shit's tight. I like that. But and a Mango Sentinel reference, of course. Yeah. There was a very.
I hope this is building up to like Glob Herman and the other fucking losers that you see near the end of that episode becoming your new batch. I fucking love Glob Herman.
Morlock people?
Glob Herman is the fucking freak with no skin who's just a jello skeleton
with the eyeballs. Right.
Yeah.
No, and then also what you fucking call it? There was an establishing shot with a not so subtle Uatu the Watcher in the sky. Then when they panned down from and it was just like you see a big dumb bald head and a clear like shape of his collar cape thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
It's just like it's a silhouette in the sky kind of thing, but it can't be anything else. So they just pan right down to
that nerd that just hangs out and watches crap, right?
Exactly, and then chronicles what's going down, and then right before Cable shows up. Incredible! What a fucking great episode! What a
slam dunk!
What a and like from here wherever it goes, it's like fuck the nostalgia shit. That's fine. We're past that. Like it was really good, but now we're doing something super interesting and fucking amazingly directed. Wow.
Are we entering the fucking Magneto was right era?
I mean, there were signs. That literally said, Magneto was right. But like I would say that like the up to this point, I might have been like, if it continues this way, like it switches from something where I'd be like, oh, like for Punch Mom, maybe if you don't remember watching the old show and you don't have any of that as a reference point or a springboard, meh. You could dodge it. It's mainly like if you remember it and you want to fucking enjoy that. But if it swerves into this, then it's like, oh no, this can be potentially good to watch just on its own merit. So anyway, that's about it.
With your week, you mean, or about X-Men?
Oh, just about X-Men.
What else you got?
Eddie Gordo.
Yeah.
You know how they say Tekken is 3? They do.
They've said that.
That's because Tekken is 3.
He's back.
You keep pressing 3.
He's fucking back.
He does the whole combo. He's back, and he's as exactly what you would expect. You can certainly still mash those kick buttons out and beat the fuck out of your friends nonstop. But within a lot of that, it is interesting to just kind of pick him up. And I was like, I remember learning how to play him properly a little bit back during Tekken Tag 2, and then coming back.
Did you get way worse when you learned how to play him properly?
Oh, I mean, so better at fighting stronger players, worse at fighting brand new people.
Man, that's so weird.
Yeah. Like, there's a style of play that will help you win against stronger players, but you'll suffer to people who are just going in and don't know what they're doing and don't care, because you're in that middle range where you're reacting to things that with the right counter, but if the person does it with no intention, then you don't know what.
If I'm not reacting, I can go so much faster.
So, but no, it's getting back to him. It is pretty sick to just pick him up, get the basics, and then you can just see right, like, this is what you can tell a strong character is about, where within 10 minutes of just messing around, you're like, oh, here's a really nice safe poke. Here's a really nice way to get into a stance that's good. He's got like a little install kind of feature where he goes into a banana tree stance, and from that he can get moves that are better by landing. Literally, like, there's a move that's called Bananiera, which is banana tree, and then there's one that's called Mandinga, which we were just obviously calling Mandingo. So if you go from level 2 Mandingo into banana and then do his special kicks, you get a knockdown and whatever. And it just, like, it's like Eddie Gordo has never been about, like, any sort of other meters or things on his character, but now there's like a, you know, Brazil install, like he gets a little Brazil level 2 thing on him. Every hit he does is like a little Brazilian flag that kind of bursts and shit. It's great. It's great. It's just a lot of fun to play, and like you can see within 5 minutes of picking him, even if you do want to learn more than just pressing the one button or the two buttons together, like he's got a lot of shit to just track you homing left or right. He's got pressure that you can't do anything about after you block it. He's just privileged, like a DLC character ought to be. So
right.
Yeah, no one, like, if like you paid money for Eddie, you're not gonna have to work that hard. He'll do the rest.
Here comes Akuma.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Thank you for buying Akuma. As a reward, Akuma will now carry you.
You play Akuma.
You know. Yeah, Eddie's sick, and as someone who has no issue with the Killmonger hair, because I think that shit looks cool. That I love his new outfit. But if you do, you can go to the character customization and you can put the old hair on as well. That's right there off the bat. So
cool.
That's fine if you want to do the old dreads. And yeah, I mean, I briefly mentioned it when we were playing, but I think when that graphic came out, that was like, here's all the modern characters using the Killmonger hair, which is why we don't like it anymore.
There's a lot
overused. I know, but I'm like, and I've played none of those games, so I don't give a fuck, and I have no reference of giving a fuck. Like, even in the case of, like, I didn't play Spider-Man 2, you know, yet, so I'm like, when Miles changed his hair in that, I'm like, yeah, I played Miles Morales, the original, but didn't see the hair change there. Echo, I saw in Arcane, don't play League, but I saw him in Project L, so there's that. And then there's like a bunch of screenshots of, I'm like, I have no idea who that is, so I didn't run into it as much, thus I don't care as much, thus I still think the Killmonger looks dope, and I feel like I'm on the outs with that, but that's fine.
Oversaturated if you weren't saturated in the first place.
I guess. And then there's DJ, who I think I'm like, that's an upgrade from my DJ's old hair. I like it a lot better, you know? I don't know. But I realized that me and Kenny are like in the extreme minority on this, and that's fine. It is what it is. I still looking at Eddie now with the fucking outfits and the, you know, switching back to either like hairstyle or costume, whatever. He's just one of the coolest looking motherfuckers, like characters designs ever.
Oh, he's great.
And I'm just like, yeah, I like 20 years ago I wanted to be him. And I still do 20 years later. I'm like, yeah, the closer I can get to looking like that fucking dude.
He's
Jesus
still
Christ.
Cool.
Incredible. So that's
also, it helps that capoeira is like an incredibly visually flashy martial art.
Yes.
Like it has its own dedicated niche of aesthetic that is completely unique to itself.
100%. And yeah, it's like, and it has Only the Strong, which was the movie that I feel like put it on the map for a lot of people as well. And it is the idea of, like, you know, Brazilian dance fighting is like, that was born from, you know, prisoners who couldn't use their hands because of handcuffs, is such an incredible, like, lore, like, history of, like, how this style came to be, that fuck yeah, the more you have that represented with characters like him and Elena and you know, I mean, even vaguely in Bob Wilson and Richard Meyer, that's awesome. So create the meme, thank you for everything and then Unlucky Chloe, not you, you've done for us.
You know, I have to say, like, Harada making fun of Americans who hate Lucky Chloe would have hit a lot harder if that character came back. Like, the fact that the character wasn't popular enough to make it into the worldwide roster regardless.
I mean, only if she can come back to just be fucking dunked on by Eddie over and over and over again. Like, that's it. You know, she should exist off camera in a way where he can get his revenge. But anyway, yeah, that's cool. And as far as all the other microtransaction bullshit, I just ignored it. And I saw the pop up for that, and I was like, yeah, no, fuck you. From what I can tell, there's the, you know, spend too much.
See, Wooly, you're ready to play these gacha phone games already. You play fighting games.
Yeah. I've also just, I you know me, I've got a very strong ability to just Chappelle push the shit out of the way, just out of my face. I don't care. I'm not looking at you. You can't make me. You know, and as long as I don't have to pay attention to it, it's all like optional, then I will not.
Apologies.
All right,
apologies. I'm very sleepy today, so I'm gonna be yawning occasionally. That's not to say that I'm bored. I'm just like literally on no sleep at all.
I'm still maple syrup crashing. So,
this works. This works out really well.
It's good. Yeah. So that's it. Gonna continue. We're working our way through Yakuza. We are out of the cabaret club hell, and I say that lovingly because it was incredible. But we finally...
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
It was so good.
Because you beat it, and you're like, I had a great time.
And we are back to Kiryu. So, you know, trying to remember the basics of CQC. And, yeah, a little bit of that. And some other stuff this week. I'll let you guys know on the schedule. But we're also going to go back to Guilty Gear because Test Your Luck, a.k.a. the strongest Nago Ryuki, is coming over to do another Guilty Gear session with us. So we're going to hang out for a bit and play some of that. And I know there's a giant crowd of people wondering, when are we going to get back to DNF Duel? Well, hey, don't you worry. The millions of you, don't you worry. We're going to go play Monk very soon. God. There's a really interesting discussion about that game recently, because it's like seen as just like a peak Kusoge representation of what happens when you balance upwards only, you never nerf anything. You know, and it's like, yeah, that's why this kind of fell off, because it becomes a game where like everyone being busted, and turns out, is not the way to go. And I'm like, I respectfully disagree, because I still fucking loved it. Like, I think it was great. I had a great time with it.
I want to play a game that has the balancing chops of Mugen.
Yeah, so that's coming soon. Anyway.
Do you mind if we take a quick break?
Yep. BRB.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else of note?
Oh yeah, tons.
Yes.
So I beat Infinite Wealth.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I saw the end of Kiryu's story, which all I have to say is
Cool.
good job on that. Just excellent job, everybody. Good game, excellent game. Very good. There's like one major problem with the story that I can't talk about because it's a spoiler.
Okay.
But it's basically a massive disconnect between what's happening in the main story and the side quests.
Okay. That's
in a way that makes no sense at all.
So that's as on brand as you could possibly get.
No, like it's a problem. Because there's side quests that relate to characterization and like main story stuff just off to the side, not the side quest dimension. Basically, there are events in some of the side quests that have to deal with the characters that are ignoring really big things that just happened in the story.
Okay.
Like
written apart from each other with no one talking or sharing notes.
Imagine Ichiban shaved his head and a bunch of side quests that unlock only after that are like, man, your hair's so incredible.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Absolutely fantastic. Did not expect for the game's primary inspiration to come from where it did. Like, you know, you've got crime novels, you've got like certain historical things or current events with the Yakuza that always manage to find their way in. There's some current events that somehow got in that made me think that maybe somebody told the developers of this game before they came to the press.
Okay.
Because the timing is so perfect. But I did not expect for so much of the game's fantastic story to actually be about Jesus.
Oh, wow. Okay. Huh.
Like Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
For realsies.
Now, I don't mean that like they're running around going, oh man, this is just about all that Jesus stuff. Like that Jesus is never mentioned once.
Okay.
Right? But I'm saying the story is telling you which characters are literally Jesus Christ in the Yakuza series.
Gotcha. Okay. There's got to be one. Fair enough.
And it's like really overt. Like it's way more overt than I would have thought, which makes sense, I guess, if you're going to have the game take place in America. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's fucking great. I did not finish a bunch of the side content because
where at the Last Supper does the chicken and the man with the spike ball arms fit? Like, is there place for is there place for a Mr. Libido at the Last Supper?
No.
Okay.
No, it's Okay.
All right. Gotcha.
But there's a lot. There's a lot in there, and it starts to get like really obvious in the back last half of that last chapter.
I mean, I gotta, like, of all the different ongoing franchises where you're like, where are we gonna be at? We're looking at, you know, what P6 confirmed to be green or whatever, you know, that little, it's not barely a story, but it's like, hey, green paint bucket, guess what, we're gonna do that. Seeing where the latest entry is in that, you're like, okay, cool, that follows. Seeing where FF16 went, it's like, yeah, that's a cool thing. I didn't expect them to go full action game, but then again, we kind of did, because they've been slowly building up to it over the course of the recent games. for Yakuza's franchise to just fully be some other guy playing Dragon Quest in America. like,
Yeah.
like what? Like that must be the most insane violent whiplash after like 14 games of hanging out in the same spot and then occasionally going to samurai and zombie times.
It's not. Like it's really not.
Okay.
All
right.
So you're not that deep in. You're like most of the way through 0 and you played a bunch of 7, right? But like there is some fucking absurd shit that some of these games ask you to take at face value for this that is way crazier than anything Ichiban does in like 7.
Okay.
Like the plot of 4 is fucking crazy.
I guess just like by the bullet points, if you describe
the rubber bullet points, if you would.
If you describe Like a Dragon, 7 and 8, that sounds like a spin-off franchise and not the mainline thing. In a world where you actually have the spin-off franchise Judgment and the other spin-off franchise, The Man Who Erased His Name, which is actually like the older thing.
So, and this actual spin-off game, Gaiden, which is a spin-off of the main character's story from the end of one game, linking them into the next one.
It's crazy.
So 8, it's in Hawaii, and there's a lot of Hawaii and American centric like content, like in the main story as well, about like stuff that has to do with America, right? Like I mentioned it earlier on that like there is a literal cutscene where the characters stand around bitching about rent prices in Hawaii, like on the nose, boop, right? But then there is also like a bunch of shit, so much that I can't even talk about it, that is setting up Ichiban of like, hey, listen, this is Ichiban's equivalent of this exact thing that happened in Yakuza 1.
He's mirroring and becoming like the
right,
protagonist by going through similar trials.
Who is literally Ichiban's Majima, who appears. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's what that is. And then you get there and you're like, oh, that is totally who that character is. And this character is being set up for spinoffs as I speak. Like you're watching the cutscene and you're like, oh, they're going to do a game with this guy for sure.
Okay. The future of this franchise is vivacious and has been set
absolutely.
up. Okay. All right.
It's great. It does get a little messy. So you're ping-ponging between Kiryu in Japan and Ichiban in Hawaii. And the game is really long and it's really big. And it does legitimately have a problem where you're doing the main story stuff and you're super invested. Oh, what's going to happen next? And they're like, well, fuck you. It's Kiryu's turn in Japan, in Yokohama now. So
is Kiryu's stuff less compelling than the Hawaii stuff?
No, it's just that if you're doing side content, you're gonna be over there for fucking 11 hours.
Okay.
And then you're gonna get all emotionally invested in that, and then you're like, oh, it's crazy, what's going on? And then it'll kick you back to Hawaii, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to be in fucking Hawaii. I want to be. Right, so like 0 kind of has that problem.
0 currently feels like that. Yes, like admittedly, every time things get really exciting with one character, you jump over to the other, and Cabaret has just completely wiped all other priorities off the map completely.
Yeah,
and the idea of Majima, like also Cabaret Majima is just a different person. He's this like awesome boss that believes in the team.
Completely different person.
Meanwhile, we go right back into the main mission with, Blind Girl and Lee and stuff. And he's like, man, fuck that guy. Don't save anybody. Let's get out of here.
Like that whole game is like, wait, how did he How did he go from this guy to that guy?
Well, one of the weirdest things we just encountered was finishing off the cabaret. You unlock the Mad Dog style, and
okay, so that is video game ass shit. He doesn't know how to do that.
Like, what about that moment inspired him to just go knife crazy? Like, what? There's nothing there that led to a like, now I'm this guy. Like,
so
it just,
if you do that shit right away, like I think you probably did it like more or less as soon as it unlocked. It's a video game ass like, hey, you beat the big mini game, here's his future moveset. And you don't, it happens before you see the inspiration for the moveset.
Okay. All right, fine.
Like if you
because
if
I'm
you
like,
had
yeah,
done that at the end of the game, it would have made way more sense.
So they just it's a moveset that applies to his future, but they've also like that moment or whatever it is that makes that happen hasn't happened. So it's the wrong reward for the wrong time.
Yeah, like Kiryu has the same thing. When you finish the real estate game, he gets the dragon style, which is his old style.
Okay.
That's it's not that like that's the inspiration's not there because Kiryu was always gonna like integrate the three styles into one, but it's like he shouldn't be doing this dragon shit in Yakuza 0. It's too much. It's way too much.
Is that what it is? He's integrating Slugger, Thug, and breakdancing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's doing weapons spinning and oh shit. Okay. I only got into a couple fights with it, and I saw him do a couple breaker moves with the knife out.
Yeah, so the way that
but I didn't realize it was a synthesis.
It's actually backwards. Because you played with these styles or saw these styles for years and years and years. And then when 0 happened, it's like, well, let's take the spinning knife moves and put it into breaker.
And so they split it into 3.
And also the first weapon that Majima ever uses is a baseball bat, not a knife.
Okay.
The first fight in Yakuza 1, you fight him in the batting cages, so he's a bat.
So that's why he's got that as the regular. Okay, that makes so much more sense now. Yeah. Because when he started using it, and I was like, "Oh, is this a new style?" And it's like, "Oh, it's a layer on the others." But it's like, no, it does do breaker moves. It does do weapon shit, and I guess Thug is in there too, and just how brutal it is, you know.
Yeah, in Infinite Wealth, because Kiryu's older and has the cancer, he's back to using the 3 styles from 0.
Oh, okay.
He's got Rush, Beast, and what's the blue one? Slugger?
No. Rush, Beast. I forget. Yeah, I forget.
I forget.
But that
Thug maybe?
No, Thug is Majima. Brawler.
And he doesn't have access to the dragon style anymore unless you use like a special move, and that's the move that breaks the turn-based system. And turns him back into.
Oh, that's sick. That's cool.
And he's the only character who can do it.
That's pretty dope. And wait, and all fights work?
Oh yeah,
that's great. So they actually.
Everybody else is limited to the turn-based world, and Kiryu's like, no.
And they're
sometimes.
I mean, everyone's like alternately designed to fight in a real-time way. In addition.
Oh no, you just whoop their fucking asses.
Oh, okay.
It's not their turn. No, when I say he breaks out, I mean him individually. The people around him are still stuck in turn-based world.
That makes way more sense. Okay, because the idea of we made it also an action game, but only for him sometimes is wild. Yeah.
No, you just whoop their fucking ass. It's a power up.
So then,
Infinite Wealth is fucking incredible. It's also, they were not kidding about how long it is. It is easily the longest of all of them. Like by a huge margin. I'd say it's like 20-30% longer than all the other ones.
Here's a basic question. Is it better than the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say overall, yes.
Good sequel. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so the swapping between the two characters thing has a secondary problem. It's not just like I spent 15 hours figuring out what's going on in Hawaii in this part of town, and then we switch over. It's that the beginning of Ichiban's story is more interesting than the beginning of Kiryu's story, but the second half of Kiryu's story is way more interesting than the second half of Ichiban's story.
Okay. So the lulls are brutal because of the contrast.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I'm not back to Hawaii, which is like stupid because like half the game's poll is that we're going to Hawaii, right?
Okay.
And that's because Kiryu doesn't have any side quests. He has no side quests.
Okay.
He has a different type of content, which it works under the side quest system, and he has like 70 different quests that are all, do you remember this guy from Yakuza 3? Here's how he's doing.
Oh fuck. Okay. You really can't appreciate Kiryu's.
Do you want to find out what happened to the Munen Chosept after all these years?
Sure, a PP.
Well, here you go. Every single one of those is like that. Like digging as deep as the series can go.
So the last thing you were saying was that like Dodongo Island or whatever, it was like all the assets from previous games.
Yeah, every single one.
But now it's just actual story content is all callback as well. Okay.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of characters that I'm like, this is the most throwaway loser from a side quest from one game. And here they are. Here's how they turned out. And here's how they're going to interact with Kiryu and be like, hey, man, thank you for convincing me to get that surgery. Or thank you for helping me reignite my love for Pocket Racer.
So, well, yeah. So here's the thing. Like, how, like, did you actually catch all of it? And how much does it matter?
All of it.
Okay.
Every single one of it.
And how much does it matter?
So it's tough. It's tough to say as somebody who has done everything. I remembered and did every single side quest, all of those mentioned.
Okay.
Over the past 14 years.
Yeah.
So I cannot possibly tell you, like, I cannot possibly tell you if it's still worth it if you didn't play those. But they explain and they flash back. They do like the screenshot of whatever the fuck it was way back in the day. Because there's a massive poll to when I go down to Kamurocho and I get a little side quest and Kiryu's like, oh, this man on the street needs a doctor. And my brain goes, well, isn't there a doctor's office like 25 feet to your left? And he goes, wait a second, that's right. There's a doctor's office 25 feet to my left.
Right.
I'll go in there, and the doctor there is really old because that was from Yakuza 2. So let's meet his daughter and find out how that worked out.
So that's the thing is like referencing like Shora PP and Pocket Racer is like, it's all side quest nonsense, admittedly, but stuff that's going to reference mainline plot is important, right? To like what's going on there. I would be, I guess it's like, it depends on how much like the reference is going to be like, does this plot point make any sense whatsoever or not? I know that
they explain they sum up.
They explain it as they go.
Wherever, like Kiryu will literally stand there and go, this is the medical clinic I hid in when the secret Koreans attacked us in Yakuza 2.
Okay. Because here's the thing, right? And it's totally fine if it doesn't, but it's like, if someone said, hey, yo, I want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 and I haven't played the previous Metal Gear Solids. Is that okay? No, don't play Metal Gear Solid 4 without playing the other ones. Literally don't. It's a waste of your time. You will get nothing from this.
You get something from it, but you get something different. What you get is if your first game was Infinite Wealth, right? You start the game going, why the fuck is everyone sucking up to Kiryu? Because he's a legendary figure, but like he's just a guy in a black shirt.
Right. Okay.
And what you would instead get is this feeling of this ridiculous breath of like, wait, what? He did all of this? It's stupid.
Okay.
It's dumb.
Look how
like
influential
how much
he's been.
He has done.
Right, over the course of that. Yeah, and that makes sense given how much it is. Look, if it's not a series where, well, we've had multiple iterations of part skipping as it applies to the Like a Dragon franchise, and as I will always understand that playing through the entirety of the thing is the best way to get the full context, and if you don't see that context, you can't complain about what you don't understand.
This also assumes you did every side quest.
Yeah, I also, however.
Crazy.
And with full respect to that, I am like, I know that in this lifetime I have on this planet,
You can't.
I will not do it. And I know that it'll mean a subpar experience in some places, and I'm gonna have to take that. And
see, you're
that's
in a
damage
position.
I have to take. You know,
you're in a completely different position because you're playing through zero, and also you play a lot of video games, and you've known me for a while, and you have a lot of friends who play these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a general fucking osmosis of Kiryu's story, right?
Yes,
and of
there
the
is. There
stupid
is.
nonsense
Yeah.
that you've seen over the years.
I'm not going to come out the other end of Stardust Crusaders going, well, some cool shit happened, but I don't get any of it. That was kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm like, no, I know that I don't know, and that's how I have to take this and go,
Yeah.
that probably has an explanation I haven't, I just
So
haven't experienced.
instead of eating 70 steaks in a row, getting to infinite wealth side quest content with Kiryu, you would have what is essentially a charcuterie board of so like this is all over the place because there's the side quests that are like, hey, let's catch up with this person. Then there's a much more in-depth version of that for characters that really matter, some of whom only appear in singular games. So like there's like hey, let's go have like a really in-depth scene with the manager of the taxi cab company that Kiryu drove for in secret in 5. Right? Like
What is the like not crazy person, but like I guess mainstream Western fans' exposure to the franchise? Like,
I don't know.
Because even when 3 was dropping as the one of the first ones that was translated and shit, like it was none of this was big at all. In fact, again, you guys were influential in putting it on the map. So, like, what's the first one that like made its way out there? Zero.
I think it was
okay,
0. And then 7.
So like, yeah, so like, is there a sizable chunk of people, like in the same way that there's a sizable chunk of people that started at Stardust Crusaders and just, went from there, or
it would be 0.
Okay. So and then from after 0 came how many things until 7?
After 0, it went to 7.
Straight to 7. 0, 7, and we're here. Okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, Kiwami 1 and 2. So the remakes of Kiwami of 1 and 2.
Okay, so safe.
And 6 came out. Oh man. Oh god. Okay.
So safe to say that like mainstream popularity wise, there would have been a number of people that only did 0, Kiwami 1, 2, and then 7.
I would say the vast majority of people did 0, 7, and then Infinite Wealth.
I see.
That's what like 7 has like a fucking line in the sand that's at some point in that game that goes, you don't need to know the old shit.
And because what you're describing is flying over most people's heads effectively.
So instead what you get is you get situations like Kiryu is walking downtown in Yokohama and you have one of those little party chats where you hit triangle and the party just starts chatting. And Namba starts talking about homeless guy fishing, right? Because he was homeless and whatever. And then Kiryu starts to talk about that time that he fought a giant squid. And
of course he did.
And they're like, "What?" And Kiryu starts to explain that it was a tough fight because they both had a lot of pride at stake. But he came out on top in the end.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
now, Wooly, you don't know that Kiryu fought a giant fucking squid. I played Yakuza 6 where there was a weird swimming mini game in which, the final boss of that is Kiryu fist fighting a giant squid in the ocean, which is the weirdest part.
In the combat system?
Yeah, he fights it in the ocean.
Using the game's combat system.
No. Using the minigames combat system.
Okay.
Right? But as somebody who didn't play Yakuza 6 and didn't play that minigame, you kind of have to wonder is Kiryu full of shit?
Is he crazy?
Or not?
Is this,
And the part that matters, oh right, he had a spear gun. I in my mind it was his fists. But you have to decide whether or not he's full of shit. And the trick is that you talk to somebody who has played all the games like me, and I will tell you every single fucking thing that they mention ever did happen at some point.
And this is also,
no matter how fucking ridiculous it sounds. Yeah, no, that did happen that one time.
And this is contrasting Ichiban, who lives in his own Dragon Quest world.
Yeah, well, so the Infinite Wealth does something really interesting with the main story. So at one point, because they have to split up and the game has to work, Kiryu catches Ichiban's
I
mental illness.
remember that. Yeah.
Right?
He gets it too. Yeah.
But more importantly than that, because we're dealing with VTubers and Hawaii and all that shit, what I've termed the side quest dimension bleeds into the main story and is here to stay now. They are no longer separate worlds because main story Kiryu talks about some of the dumbest shit that's ever happened.
Because the main story needs to sometimes follow Animaniacs rules.
Yeah, and also there's a couple of boss fights on Ichiban's side that are just straight up cartoon shit.
Okay.
But that's the main story stuff. But yeah, they go crazy deep on this, and like some of it'll fly over your head because you're like, I don't know who this guy is. You're showing me a picture of this guy. You are describing a situation with this guy. I've never heard of any of these fucking people. Hey, who's the fucking dude that in Zero that wears like a brown suit and throws money in a dude's face?
The Kiryu guy that works for Tachibana.
Yeah, what's his fucking
Oda?
name?
Oda. I want to say Oda. Yeah.
How do you feel about Oda?
So far, pretty cool.
Okay.
At first, he was a shitbag, but then it's like, I see what you got going on here.
So Oda gets a mention.
Okay.
In Infinite Wealth. The first game, like, Kiryu hasn't talked about him in fucking 25 years.
Huh.
No, great. The 80s, 35 years. But when you're going by Cafe Alps, you can be like, oh, yeah, I remember when I had coffee here with Oda 35 fucking years ago.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's a piece of shit to the guy who's like, he's dealing with the squatting hobo attack. And then he's, for Tachibana, but then you find out that the guy who's there holding out is actually the shitbag, and Oda's, so it's all up in the air.
So
right
yeah,
now.
basically what I'm saying is that if you have like collective unconscious knowledge of Kiryu, a lot of it hits because it's like a greatest hits of all sorts of stuff.
But you are the fucking 1% that has done.
I'm the person that it's for.
All of it and side quests as well, right? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And there's some that hit in different ways. Right. I'm thinking specifically because there's the side quest and then there's like walk up to a sign and then Kiryu will have a little blurb. Right. And there's one that stands out to me about a character you've never met named Makoto Date. It's the detective that hangs out with Kiryu in Yakuza 1. And is voiced by Goofy's voice actor, Bill Farmer.
Okay.
So he has done a bunch of joke interviews where he talks about what if Goofy met Kiryu. It's silly as fuck. But it's a picture of a helicopter. And Kiryu goes, this really makes me think of Date. It feels like every time Date's around, he's just in a helicopter, and points like a picture of Date in a helicopter from Yakuza 1, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, that is weird that he is always in a helicopter. But you would be like, what? Who? And why are they in a helicopter?
But at the same time, it feels as if the context for all of this stuff is like, it's either the like walking a trip down memory lane or look at the breadth of this man's work, look at his legacy in a way. And
yeah, it's very legacy based.
And
it's basically, hey, look how all these people turned out after you helped them.
And that's like, I understand that like that is a context where if you're not getting it all, you're still understanding it's the impact that he had, and thus it's fine, even if you don't get the specific thing that is being mentioned there.
Yeah, instead of, hey man, remember all this shit that you did? Wasn't that crazy? It's, can you believe all the shit that this guy did? That's crazy.
Like I'm trying to think of an example in another media, and I'm sure there's a better one, but like even just I've talked about like Turn A Gundam, where there's a moment at the end where spoilers for Turn A Gundam if you're but there's a moment at the end where you see all other Gundam universes
Yeah.
in for a second, and it's a little bit of like, okay, even if you don't know what that one is, third from the left, it's fine. You get the idea of what they're going for. You're looking at
people are saying it's kind of like Polnareff in Vento Oreo talking about, back in my day, we went to Egypt and fought a vampire.
Sure.
Right, and you go, wow, man, that sounds crazy.
And yeah, and ultimately you're like, I get the energy of what this is trying to say, even if I don't.
Is that you had your own story that was just as bananas as this shit?
Or like or Mazinger Zero with the big fucking finale on that, where a bunch of silhouettes of like, do I know that robot? Oh, you know what that one is. Do you know that one? You might recognize that one. That's just an Ava, like, so yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's stellar. It's fantastic.
Final hour count.
Let's click on Steam. Let's find out what we got. Final hour count for me, including 92.2. And I barely interacted with Dodonko Island. I did not even finish all of Ichiban side quests.
Okay. Fuck. All right. Fair.
So speaking of things that are excellent, you should check out that Fallout TV show.
I heard. I got messages this morning saying, "Yo, you should watch Fallout the TV show."
It is
as an introduction to the world of Fallout.
Sure.
Okay.
Fuck it. It's great. So it really says a lot. So the game, it really says a lot that I refer to it as the game in my head because it's Fallout 5. It takes place chronologically after all of the other ones.
Oh, it actually is its own thing taking place in the story. Okay.
It says a lot that it binge dropped on Amazon.
The whole thing is out.
Yeah. And when the first thoughts I saw about it was, this fucking thing sucks. They fucking ruined the canon. And like I'm watching it, I'm halfway through. And I'm like, oh, you just disagree with the fact that it takes place after the games and you don't like what happened to some of those places or people, or like they didn't ruin anything. You're just mad. You just don't like it. You said that in my mind, this is what happened, but no, they're writing their own story, and for the use of their own story, they wanted to do it like this.
Okay. Bold decisions are made to make it make sense.
I would say there are at least one absolutely insanely bold decision that is made in this show. That is surprising that Bethesda gave them the okay to do.
Okay.
But
how many episodes?
8.
Cool.
It does
hour
something.
Long?
So the length of the episodes are lies. So the first episode is an hour and 14 minutes long. Except it's not. It's like 50. It has like 10 minutes of this season on Fallout previews, and then like 20 minutes of credits.
Weird. Okay.
Like it's really strange. It's fucking weird.
Sure.
So it is a feature dramatic TV show based off a video game property, and it does a lot of great things from something being adapted from a game, and it's not doing a lot of bad things that you would expect from a video game adaptation. So let's take let's take like callbacks, right? So Fallout has a million items, has a million side stories. Fallout has like a huge breadth of games that have tons of details in it, right? Your at least casually familiar that it takes place in an alternate like 1950s kind of nuclear age thing. But then bombs, right? So you've got serials like Sugar Bombs, you've got Grognak the Barbarian on TV, you know, things that you would recognize. But the one that always stood out to me after I watched the first episode like once and a half, like I went back to watch like certain parts of it again. So there's a healing item in Fallout called the Stim Pack. It's your basic healing item. You use a Stim Pack, you're healed, right? In the first episode, there is a point in which somebody is injured and needs to use a Stim Pack. And what they don't do is hold up a fucking Stim Pack in front of the camera and go, "Oh, thank God I found my Stim Pack." They just run to the fucking medicine cabinet, grab it, and jam it in their gut. And like it just looks like a prop. It doesn't look like a video game reference. It's just a prop for its own setting.
Are you looking at a cast of characters that are just all new to this show because the setting can work that way? Okay. So you don't have to rely on recognizing people and things.
No, they set up everybody. You follow a cast of 3 characters, and what they have done with that is incredibly interesting. And it's the part that's the most like a game, but they've used it to like an excellent like multi-character narrative. So you have 3 main characters. You have a vault dweller, the girl that you see in blue. You have a initiate in the Brotherhood of Steel, which is those power armor knight guys. And then you have the guy who Walter Goggins plays, which is a ghoul, which is a irradiated old man with no nose. He looks like a zombie, who plays a bounty hunter. And the most interesting thing about these characters, and you're following each of them as they go throughout the various adventure, they meet up, they split apart, is that all 3 of them are potential player characters from your would-be run of a Fallout game.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You have a character that is an idealistic, good karma, goody two-shoes. You have a completely amoral psychopath, and you have somebody who is essentially doing shit for the quest rewards, but as characterization.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
And watching how they go through their own narrative and ping pong off of each other is great. It's like Walter Goggins is a fucking fantastic actor. I'll watch anything with Walter Goggins in it. I fucking love Walter Goggins. And the other 2 main actors are fantastic as well. And it's just like a really interesting, well-shot, well-directed, fascinating show that happens to take a lot of shit from Fallout. It's great.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I heard beforehand was when we talked about how there was the nose, the makeup on the guy's face.
Yeah, he should look a lot uglier. He should look fucked. But what are you gonna do? Oh, it's Walton Goggins?
Walton Goggins. Yeah, I'm just checking because I'm like, I haven't seen Justified, I haven't seen Sons of Anarchy, but Hateful Eight was fucking great.
You seen The Shield?
No.
Oh man, he plays a fucking scumbag.
Django Unchained. Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Right.
Yeah. No. It's just great.
Invincible.
It's a more faithful adaptation than Last of Us is, despite the fact that Last of Us is a 1-to-1 adaptation.
Interesting. Okay. And yeah, and this is a faithful but again self-contained thing that takes place after all the other things and doesn't, I guess, clash with any of them.
No.
And you're calling it Fallout 5 because it feels like
this could have been a game called Fallout 5 with where it is in narratively.
Interesting. Okay.
What they do something a little strange where the characters, like Lucy, the main character from the Vault, is like literally the Fallout 3 main character again.
Okay.
Like their story is exactly the same. and it's kind of funny because they clearly really liked what was going on with Fallout 3. So they just said, we would like to have our main character have the core narrative of the Fallout 3 main character.
You finished the season yet?
No, I'm exactly halfway through.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I guess the question is like, well, is it something where like because if this is successful, you can make further seasons and you can, go further places with it, but like
I have a very sneaking suspicion that there are already setups for at least one other place you could go in a second season.
What streaming service was supposed to get this or got this? Or not that it matters particularly
let me check
up here, but
just to make sure I send everyone to the right place.
Yes, of course. Is it? Yeah, Amazon. It's on
That's
Amazon.
where I'm watching it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, cool. That's great. I had no, I've got no Fallout anything besides doing some QA evaluation for it might have been New Vegas or 3 or Game of the Year edition or one of those things.
Something.
I ran the create a character Pip-Boy tutorial a bunch of times. And yeah, I've certainly, again, through osmosis and you guys and everything, heard enough about and seen enough of the old timey videos and whatever, the mascot kid. What's the little blue guy?
Oh, Pip-Boy.
Is his name Pip-Boy? It's not just the thing on your screen on your arm. Okay, so
wait, Vault Boy. My
Vault
mistake.
Boy.
Pip-Boy
Vault
is
Boy. The arm thing. Yeah. So I've gotten enough of an understanding there, but the feeling I've gotten from over the years has been that it's like, okay, the original game, specifically like 2, was this wild experience of like an RPG that let you break the rules and kill NPCs and do all kinds of crazy shit that is never really going to happen again. But the other games are still pretty good, fun stories that let you do enough that that's a cool franchise. But like every third game is good, and then there's garbage in between.
I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you real quick. It's very simple. 1 and 2 were made by Black Isle, and then Black Isle fell apart, and then people who worked there worked at Obsidian and made New Vegas. So New Vegas is not quite, but it could be 3.
Okay.
And then Bethesda Game Studios made Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and Fallout 76.
Yeah. Okay.
And Bethesda Game Studios said, what if Fallout was like Skyrim? And that's why it's like Skyrim. And the two branches are very different, and they absolutely did a great job of, like, one of the smartest things Bethesda did is they set all of their games on the East Coast, where all of Obsidian and Black Isle's games are on the West Coast.
Really? There's a geographic line that separates the quality from the chaff?
You could call it quality from the chaff.
That's interesting.
But like they set it on the East and West Coast so that they didn't fuck up each other's bullshit.
Yeah, okay. Do whatever you want over there. You're not going to mess with me over here.
Aren't gonna fuck it up.
That's so funny. Is there any franchise that does that? I don't know. Where like, okay, Star Wars, this side of the galaxy, this is the one you're allowed to touch and work. Yeah,
so what's
or the Treyarch and Infinity Ward, like split. Wow, that's
so each of the games takes place usually in a different state. And of note is that the Fallout 5 TV show takes huge inspiration from the Bethesda games as well, but takes place in California, in the West Coast part.
Mm-hmm.
To the point of even visiting some of the specific locations from Fallout 1 and 2.
Okay, so in terms of shit that matters, 1, 2, New Vegas.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I would say. I think Fallout 3 is really good. I would not say that Fallout 4 is really good, and I would definitely not say that Fallout 76 is good at all.
Okay. That's cool. Like, look at that. I might get into One Piece and Fallout this year. That's great. That's and these little
Yeah, you know what? I would put its accuracy, despite being like a new story, I would like put it on like that level of like, yeah, no, did you like this? Then that is exactly what you're going to go and get if you just move over here to the different medium.
Neat. Awesome. I would have pegged this for disaster. I would have assumed this would have been a horrendous Halo-ass fucking terrible show that everyone was going to shit on forever.
I very strongly expected it to be terrible. And I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and the first scene in that show is A+. It's incredible. And then you cut to the vault, and I'm like, this is well directed, interesting, and well acted, and it is also made by complete freaks who are obsessed with Fallout, because every set piece, every single item of set dressing, every costume, every detail is perfect. Which is not something you usually get to say. Where like with an adaptation, but like no, it's all perfect. And Kyle MacLachlan's there. I don't know if you're familiar with his acting roles.
Kyle MacLachlan.
The guy who plays Dale Cooper in Twin Peaks. The guy who played that father on SVU who shot that kid in court.
No.
The original Pesky Paul in Dune.
In the original Dune, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking through this this list of showgirls, season showgirls.
Yeah, I love Kyle MacLachlan. I think he's great.
Okay, all right.
And he does a really good job pretending to be Liam Neeson in this TV show.
Okay. The Flintstones movie. No shit. Okay.
Who the fuck did he play in fucking Flintstone? He was the mayor of Portlandia.
Oh, cool. Okay. Nice.
That does anything. I'm sure I'm going to keep watching it. I'm going to encounter some plot bomb that everybody is mad about. But I don't care.
So far, so good.
Okay. Yeah, so far, so good. And this series has been retconned to hell. Like every single game retcons the shit out of the last one. So I'm really not too worried about it.
But it's also like it's just the setting, right? It's just anything can take place in this post-apocalyptic setting. Like
yeah, but
nothing...
the setting is also historical.
Okay.
So like you can change parts of the setting by dotting an I here or who is responsible for this there.
But it doesn't sound like the ending of any of these games, and you can put on a poker face if you need to. It doesn't sound like the ending of any Fallout game is ever, and then we terraformed Earth properly again, and it became totally normal, and the nuclear radiation was gone.
So,
you know, like it seems like
you are describing one of the reasons why I think it's so stupid that people. So I encountered one of the biggest like setting altering moments in the TV show where I go, wow, that is a huge change for the future of this series because they have changed something that is important, right? And I go, well, every single one of these games had massive open-ended possible endings. So you kind of have to write around them, like all the way around them. Because you can't accommodate for the fact that you did the goddamn Yes Man ending in New Vegas.
So they didn't pick one and go, that's the canon one that happened.
No, they have to go around it.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so far so good.
Cool. Yeah, anything else for this week?
Phone, Fallout, X-Men. I believe that's it. Oh, Infinite Wealth. Yeah.
All right. What's the schedule?
Schedule this week is tomorrow I'm playing FF7 Rebirth. On Wednesday I'm playing a shit ton of phone games on my personal computer. On Thursday I'm going to be playing Beat Your Wife at video games with LA Noir. And then I'm back to FF7 on Friday over at twitch.tv/PatStaresAt.
Okay.
Is Stellar Blade out this week, Susie? Should I care about Stellar Blade?
I mean, if Nikke puts you in the mood for asses, then you might just be, warming
Wouldn't
up.
I just keep playing more Nikke then?
I suppose so, but if you want the shiniest Hyungtae Kim asses, like the really, really, really greased up ones, because at the end of the day, like the Nikke ones are, they're not max shiny. They could be more greased up. I don't
know why.
We can slick this pig. We can.
That's awful. That's awful. Wait, it's the same people?
Is it? Well, there you go.
No way.
Well, there you go.
No way.
Incredible. Incredible. All right. Yeah. That explains that.
There's no way.
Oh my God.
I'm looking this up right now.
Holy shit.
Shift up.
That's crazy. That's the horniest studio in video games.
You fucking lasered in on
That's
that.
wild. Yeah, just like, because it's not just any kind of lewd. It's like, it's not just like general purpose gooning. It's ass focused. It's ass focused. It's a particular flavor it's going for. It's okay. There it is. All right. Understood.
Let's just move on.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, I gotta use the bathroom again, so BRB.
Enjoy.
Quick word from our sponsors.
I love our sponsors.
This week's podcast is sponsored by Henson Shaving. That is the family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover that are bringing that precision engineering to your shaving experience. I like that resume. If you walked in and you handed me a sheet of paper and that was on it, I'd be like, I trust you to shave my face.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. If you are having an awful time with ingrown hairs and razor bumps and all of the horrible cuts and problems you can have if you're trying to shave and it goes terribly, that's probably because you do not have a sharp enough blade. It's probably because it's cheaply made. It has not been well thought out. And that is not a fun reward after you have to go to the pharmacy and be treated like a criminal. To be like, I would like that one, please. And then they chain you up and lead you into the place where you're allowed to access the razors that are held in weird extra layers of prison bars protection. It's an ordeal. If you've gotten to buy shaving blades at the store, it's an ordeal, and it's way too much for a terrible shave. So get rid of that. Get yourself in with Henson's aerospace background that has enabled them to create razors of unmatched precision that achieve a blade extension of 0.0013 inches, which I believe an engineer said there's a better way to say that. Like, you can say like 1/3. There's a way to express that exact number, and I don't know.
I know how. It's sharp.
Yes, it is insanely sharp. But like you can say like 13. They said it in a certain way. But anyway, that's gone. The point is that it's less than a human hair's thickness, and that's incredibly precise control over your blade. It allows you to have a vibration-free close shave experience. So, yeah, it's big sharp, and it's
Extremely sharp,
made well. So, with that, you also have built-in channels that evacuate hair and cream, so makes clogging virtually impossible. And yes, I was able to very much appreciate the close laser diamond-like cut shave of the Henson shaving models that I got to try out. So, yeah, you can get in there with no subscriptions and a razor that'll last you a lifetime. If you visit hensonshaving.com/superbeast, you can pick up the razor for you and use code SUPERBEAST. You'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure you add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/superbeast and use the code SUPERBEAST. Thank you, Henson Shaving. I got a good shave thanks to you.
Shaving.
Much appreciated. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how, like, with razors, like, sharper is safer.
Yes.
Right? It feels counterintuitive.
You would think.
But it is absolutely.
Everywhere else in life, you know,
yeah, all the
safer.
fear and damage from a razor is almost all pulling. Like crazy.
All right. What's going on? Couple of things, but I would say first and foremost, if you are out there and you are trying to get your hands on some bootleg Pokemon, you might want to think again. Because
well, if you live in Japan.
Yeah, in particular, we've got, and from Kyoto Prefecture, a 36-year-old man has been arrested by Japanese police for creating and selling rare varieties of Pokemon online. an interior decorator used an unspecified modification device to alter the stats of Pokemon and was offering them for sale, and apparently managed to rack up a couple million yen in sales, and has since been arrested, and he confessed to the police that he did it to earn a living. They're further investigating the full extent of his modifications, to his illegal modifications to the Nintendo Switch hardware, and his save datas of Pokemon, which are also, again, illegal, as he violated the Unfair Competition Prevention Act, something that was passed in 2019. And...
Oh, this seems like fair competition that Nintendo is using the police to stop unfairly.
And faces potential years in prison.
Years in prison,
depending on how this goes. So modding, like, okay, anytime a mod goes into a selling situation, like with the paddle world shit and all that, you always know it's gonna get legally dicey. But police came to this dude's house and fucking arrested him for modding Pokemon, is where we're at. Like, Japan actually is willing to pull you in and potentially have you arrested for years. And the thing is with that, like, if you consider, I guess, the nature of any law that you can be, like, that's not like a financial crime that you can be arrested for, is one that means that failure to comply with said law could potentially escalate to retaliation of violence, right? Mm-hmm. So if someone were to, in a situation like, again, resist or anything were to go beyond that point, you're basically having something where, like, the idea of modifying a game save file and saving that could lead to someone getting hurt or killed. It's just there's like a bit of a thought experiment as to, like, every time you have something that people can be arrested for, is it worth it for them to potentially face, like, violence as a result? The idea that Japan will arrest you for Pokemon modding is fucking insane. Even
there's
the financial aspect. That's wild.
There's a lot of nonsense that you could think of in your mind here. You could think of, bro, Nintendo's willing to put people away for years over their Pokemon shit. What were you all yelling about with fucking Power World?
Right.
So, you're nuts.
So the thing is, too, like, there's always a weird element to it where, like, you get the feeling that, like, this is, again, like, cops are busting in and, like, pulling the dude in down to the precinct, right? You get the feeling that it's like, no one is going to kick your door down and drag you away in handcuffs if you were bootlegging Monster Ranchers. You know? If you had counterfeit fighting food-ons, I don't think that you would be getting pulled into potential a jail time for that. Yeah. Yet, because Pokemon is this big, important national franchise that is such a big deal, it has this extra level of, I can't believe you're fucking with our national shit. I can't believe you're willing to, like, if you're fucking with Pokemon, that's important, and you have to pay the price for it.
The second thing that I think of about how absurd this is like, fucking thank goodness Nobuhiro Watsuki didn't have any bootleg Pokemon on his computer next to all that child pornography, or he might have actually done jail time.
Oh no, not Kenshin. God forbid. And once again, the hero, the manga legend, that is Kenshin, that is an international exported important thing that, the commonality here is you need to protect the thing that is important and big and popular, that is a major part of our culture exported. It's crazy. It's crazy. This
is like the absolute most absurd, like, when people are like, yeah, the cops only exist to protect the capital of the fucking business class and yada yada. You're like, whatever. But, like, this stupid shit is so crazy.
Well, so in America, it's, what can we do? What can Nintendo do? We can get the Pinkertons at your door. Can we get the cops at your
Send
door?
some goons to your house.
We can't get the cops at your door. No. Can we get the Supreme Court on your ass? No, probably not. But what can we do? We can hire private.
Goons.
We can hire private. Okay, cool. Back home, what can we do? Oh, we can get it in official. We can get actual cops showing up. Cool. All right, run it. Yeah.
Did you dress up like Mario at Halloween? Straight to jail.
Believe it or not. Did you not dress up as Mario? Straight to jail. There at the fucking Sugar Shack I went to yesterday, there was a Mario and Luigi mascot walking around taking pictures with the kids, posing next to the Tierre sur la Neige, like fucking, you know.
Yeah, that shit lasts forever, because who's gonna fucking tell anyone?
Right? Little did I know that mascot's life was on the line, putting on that Mario outfit. Straight
like
to the
all those
gulags.
dudes that dress up like Spider-Man to go do kids' birthday parties. That being said, Marvel is almost as insane. And will like bulldoze children's graves that have Spider-Man on them.
I mean, there is that. Like, also, full disclosure, like the Times Square SpongeBob shit makes me extremely uncomfortable, because like the further out of the correct context that someone in a mascot costume is, the more creepy and weird and disturbing it is, because it's like, who the fuck are you that you just bought this on eBay and now you're putting it on and now you're hanging around and taking pictures with kids? Like, who is that? What are you doing? We're not at Nintendo World or Disney or any. We're at a fucking Sugar Shack in the cabin up north. Why is Mario here? You know. And there was also a Paw Patrol walking around, and it just feels like out of the context of the place that the mascot should be. The further we are away, the more weirded out I am. But anyways, yeah, actual jail time now for video game crimes. Up to 5 years, potentially 5 million in fines, and
up to 5 fucking years.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't think any.
While we sit here and I have to Google where I'm watching Fallout.
Like
I'm watching it on Amazon, of course.
Of course. Again, I don't think anybody like expects that the moment something goes into like, oh, are you selling your mods and shit? Yeah, you're gonna get into deeper trouble than a regular cease and desist. You're gonna get more than a spanking. Would be expected, because that's a stupid move. But the thought is that it would be financial, you know, because you're fucking around with money. Like, it's gonna go to that point. Literally getting locked up over that is madness. But yeah. I'm not too sure what about the full extent of this law, but apparently it's a recent one from only a couple years ago. So,
not to get too political, but is it Vietnam that just sentenced that landlord lady to death?
What? I have not heard of this.
I believe it's Vietnam. Okay. The real estate billionaire in Vietnam stole 3% of the country's GDP. And as a result of her financial crimes, she has been sentenced to death.
Holy fuck.
She stole like $12 billion.
3%?
Like of the national GDP.
What the fuck?
Hey, listen, I will say, if you're gonna go big, go as big as you can, and that's pretty fucking big.
Wow. Okay. Into capital punishment. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photo of her at the trial. She does not look excited.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think when you're doing the land crimes, the consequences ever in your brain that it would be like literally execution. I think in many cases the thought is, well, you take your risk expecting that, yeah, many years in jail or giant crazy fines or whatever the case is, but 3%. Holy fuck. Okay, wow.
She just ran like a land scam where she made a fake bank and then had the fake bank withdraw money from the government. Just over and over and over and over and over and over.
Okay. Well, yeah, the effect you have on the entire population of the nation is fucking psychotic for the level that we're describing here. I don't know that capital punishment is necessarily there can be a discussion about whether that should be meted out for this type of crime. That's fucking insane.
The
But
difference
wow,
between these two neighboring countries of capital says go to jail versus literally death to capital, and then you have China in the middle there, which is, I mean, their deal. Asia's crazy.
Jesus Christ. So, are we then capital punishment for Pokemon save file crimes?
It's only a matter of time.
This is not the natural conclusion, right? This is where we go. Like Pikachu holding the guillotine.
I mean, if Nintendo had their way, they would shoot you in the face for playing a Nintendo game.
Oh my god, that's so fucked up. Okay. Do you want to talk about Evo Cross Sesame Street?
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
So speaking of Japan, Evo Japan Cross Sesame Street is a collab where there's going to be official merch where you can see.
Don't bootleg that T-shirt; they'll kill you over it.
Maybe don't do that. But yeah, you got Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and Elmo playing fighting games and holding sticks and everything, and they're not showing you, of course, the game that's on the screen because that might be a little bit violent and suggestive. But
is there a fighting game appropriate for young children? No.
Probably not.
Is there a
yet.
fighting game appropriate for older children? No. There are only fighting games appropriate for man children.
I mean, we just need, it's fine. The t-shirts exist. It's an official thing. They signed off on it. So now we can let nature take its course. If Waffle House is too coward, but Sesame Street will do it, then let's put the Sesame Street stage in the game.
Yeah, and Sesame Street isn't even tying to a specific fighting game. They're just like all fighting games.
Right? Arcade
like
sticks and just playing fun. Yeah. Elmo, take that throw. You know,
Dude, Elmo's like 4 years old. Elmo is getting stomped out at Evo.
Unless Elmo the Prodigy is doing it. Oscar is a fucking plugger. Oscar's plugging that Ethernet cable out.
No, I didn't do it on purpose. The internet in my trash can's really, it's spotty.
It's got bad Wi-Fi in the trash can. Oh man, yeah. I don't know how that deal was brokered, but maybe Sesame Street doesn't fully know what fighting games are yet completely. Know. But for whatever purpose in Japan, you can currently get a shirt or two, and I feel like this might not last, so I want to get in on that. That's dope.
You should.
Beyond.
You want to talk about Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yeah, go for it.
Shadow the Hedgehog has had their actor confirmed for the new Sonic movie as Keanu Reeves.
I missed that.
Mm-hmm. That happened about 10 minutes after we started the podcast.
No shit.
So Shadow's going to shoot a gun.
Oh my God. Oh my God, John Wick. Oh my God. Okay, they did it for the bit. It doesn't even matter whether he talks or not. They just did it for the bit. Oh, God. Yeah, all right. All right. I mean, who can possibly hate? Like, that's...
You can hate on that. It's great.
That's great. That's great. That's fantastic. But it's just like John Wick is not exactly talking all the time. You know what I mean?
No.
Like... So it's literally just to have this moment right here. Us, what we're doing.
You don't know that Shadow's not going to do like gun katas and shit.
I mean, 1,000,000% he's going to do the fucking gun katas. And he's not going to hit anything, but he's going to do them.
What if he drives his truck?
Oh, man. That's crazy. Okay. Keanu Reeves shouting chaos control.
Oh, that's good.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
Keanu's had like a really, really prolific acting career. And I really like him as an actor when he's in a good
guy.
role. And he's apparently the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But like, I cannot get his performance from fucking Dracula out of my fucking head. Like the worst British accent ever put to film.
I have not seen it.
Oh, you gotta go look up some clips. It is the worst ever. It defies belief that this is a professional actor.
I mean, it's also one of those things where Bill and Ted was way ahead of my time as well. Like, I feel like it was that must have come out before or whatever it was. It was when did Bill and Ted come out? Hold on, I don't know. I feel like it was older than me though. Oh, 1989. Okay, I was 4 years old.
Okay,
yeah. So, either way, that was nowhere around me, and I never caught those either. So for me, like The Matrix was the introduction to Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Huh.
No, wait, was Speed first? Yeah, Speed was first, right?
Yeah, Speed first.
I saw Speed. Speed was the introduction, then The Matrix. Yeah.
And Speed fucking kicks so much ass.
Okay, well now between that and Idris, they've now achieved enough clout that they can pull anybody in. So
anybody,
any A-lister is on the table. Wonderful.
I want this movie series to go on for long enough that we start getting like complaints from moviegoers about how they don't care about all these extra animal characters and all the Sonic friends. Like I want the cycle to continue in movie form.
It's not just complaining about people now. It's complaining about the chaotix getting too much screen time. Yeah, no,
because like Silver is after Shadow and people will mark out for Silver because they're stupid. But like I want to see like reviews for Sonic 5 be like, who the fuck gives a shit about all these rabbit friends that live with Sonic now? I don't give a fuck. What are their names even?
I mean, obviously ScarJo comes in as Amy.
Yeah.
You know, because that's
Amy there. I gotta watch that second movie.
Yeah, I mean, either that or Cream, whatever. Take your pick. Who gets Rouge the Bat?
Megan Fox. Is that appropriate?
Not currently it enough though. Needs to be
has to be it.
Has to be it, right? Like
it? Okay.
Yeah, it has to, but it's got to be like.
Who's that bitch with the giant eyes?
You know who gets it? Ice Spice gets it.
Ice
right?
Spice?
Tie in music, tie in culture, get a nice big pop name in there for everybody, and just get the zoomers in. You pull in some Ice Spice. There you go. That's how you do it. And then that's the casting. I feel it. All right. That aside, there was a announcement for an Invincible game. Apparently, Skybound Entertainment is launching a crowdfunding campaign to make an Invincible game.
Skybound. Didn't they make the goddamn?
So
like
the only thing
Walking Dead shit.
Yeah, I'm like I only know Skybound for picking up after Telltale left Walking Dead. The final.
I'm not going to crowdfund that. Kirk, whatever guy has money, fucking go get some of his money.
And apparently,
what the?
Yeah, it's odd. I'm not too sure. Like there's the full page. I haven't gone through the whole thing yet because I saw it just before we started. But it's currently at 440. So I think they got investment from outside elsewhere, larger firms or so. They're looking for a minimum of 50 and a maximum of 5 million, and a minimum of 50,000 for a AAA Invincible game is ridiculous. That's laughable. So there's no way that is a real number.
Well, this is.
But
Robert Kirkman made Invincible and Walking Dead. He's the TV like.
So
you don't need crowdfunding.
Well, yeah. So I'm guessing that I'm guessing multiple attempts to ship this around failed, and multiple places just must have said no. And so, as a probable, like, okay, well, last resort, let's just go with a crowdfunding thing to get interest and do a fake campaign to get people to
use your own money.
Shenmue 3 it a little bit, you know?
It's like Microsoft crowdfunding a Halo game. Like, oh, we just don't know where the money is. Like,
I imagine that, like, yeah, there's probably been a lot of no's and closed doors from shipping it around. So this is a Shenmue 3, like, proof of interest.
The idea that no one wants to do it on this super hot property and they don't want to spend their own money to do it gives me like negative faith that I want to have anything to do with this fucking game. It's a game that no one wants to make. Aren't you excited? No.
So apparently they've done a campaign before that raised 18 million for what though?
What?
Not sure. New studio, 30 people made up of industry veterans from Amazon Games, Blizzard, EA, and Activision. And Kirkman himself. Yeah, I don't know. It's odd because I'm also just like, yeah, like as far as the again the name goes with Skybound, like I don't know other games besides the last Walking Dead seasons, right? Confusing move, but I think that I feel like the Kickstarter campaign for the non-indie thing is not something that people really believe in anymore. Like that bridge is fucking burnt. Like it is clear that it is a like, all right, look how many people are interested. Now can we go and close this out with some other investors, behind the scenes or so. But I imagine that part of the money you're seeing there is already some of that private investors putting in some of that 440.
So
it's just it's a public facing thing that is that could be happening behind the scenes regardless.
So like the Kickstarter and all that had a really promising start and a bunch of shit, and then it was like ruined when it became very clear that all of these amounts were like tests, for a bunch of big companies. And this situation with Skybound makes me think of Psychonauts 2, which I never bitched about because I don't care about Psychonauts, but like Double Fine had a fucking campaign to bring Psychonauts 2 back. It was like a fig campaign. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they got bought in 2019 by Microsoft. And then the game came out in 2022. So like, if Microsoft fucking owns you, then give the money back. You don't need it.
Right. Yeah.
Why did anyone fucking give you any money for Psychonauts 2?
Or if
you were just going to get bought by a company to finish the game.
And if it's about just getting like a vote of confidence for the publicity to say that, hey, look how many people are interested, then don't make it that kind of campaign from the start. Like, it's odd. I feel like, okay, so here it is. Okay, so they raised 18 million prior to this for the project. So this is a second campaign.
Right.
And this is, it's on Republic. It's not a Kickstarter directly, but looking at this, the way it's kind of mentioned with the valuation, minimum investment, goals set, etc. It feels as if this would be something that would happen behind the scenes, trying to get investors of few number but large involved. Because right now the fact that it's at they've made that 18 and then it's at 446 with 150 out of 154 investors total. So I just don't know why this is a public thing necessarily and not just a privately done thing.
We have 18 million, but we need 5 more from you.
It's weird. It's weird. It's very weird. I don't know. But it's like,
yes,
when
I'm rich, but I want your money to to make fuck off. Like a bunch of the Kickstarter games that I backed were like from companies that were like, we're broke. Help.
Yeah. I mean, you are looking at as well, like, less like your perks are not like, oh, you get a poster of Invincible, but there's like, you get points on the investment for potential returns. So this is what this is the difference between this and just running like a Kickstarter thing is like, yeah, there's an actual
investors
return.
represent a minuscule amount of FIG and other things. Like they're primarily crowdfunding. Again, I don't know. Odd way to go about it. Must be desperate, I guess. I remember for Psychonauts 2, people were like speculating that the only reason that game finished is because Microsoft bought them because they had run out of the Kickstarter money long before that game was going to come out. Because wasn't there a bunch of shit with Double Fine and Broken Age and how long Broken Age took to come out?
I don't remember. I guess the idea though is that like with the 18 million that was raised, that's going to go towards the project, and then everything bonus from that 50 is for the ability to do more. And okay, anyway, I feel like, we'll find out more in the future as this goes.
Listen, I need you to crowdfund me $5 million so I can put it in my pocket where the $5 million goes.
Well, speaking of crowdfunding bits, the dev behind Blasphemous recently came out and explained that during the campaign for that, Larian just donated 1,000 and then just never asked for anything in return and just went like, here's some money, this is cool, and ghosted.
Yeah, great, because Larian knows what it's like to be barely scrimping by and making like your passion project indie game.
I mad respect for that. That's super sick. I like that move. I like that kind of move. Just like, yo, I like the thing. I want this to exist. Good job.
Here you go. Here's a little nudge.
Continue making this exist. Push. And that's it.
Oh yeah, congrats to Larian, by the way, for winning all 5 major Game of the Year publication awards. Like all the game industry ones, Game Awards, BAFTA, GDC, like all that shit. Like the first unanimous Game of the Year literally in the history of the industry.
Well fucking deserved. Good shit. At CinemaCon this year, Paramount has confirmed Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie is coming out in
oh hell yeah, we've hit fucking market cap on your nostalgia. So time to have your nostalgia kiss.
Thing is, okay,
oh yeah, there it is. I see it in your fucking eyes.
So I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. I have not seen either of the G.I. Joe movies, and I don't care to.
They're terrible.
I've only seen the first Transformers movie, and that was more than enough for me. Thank you very much.
Oh, what? You didn't see the one where Anthony Hopkins is like an ancient Transformers knight?
I did not. I saw the Beast Wars trailer, and that did. It made a little something inside me go, God damn it, Beast Wars. I love Beast Wars. But for the most part, what that movie franchise, the Michael Bay versions of these things has become, I'm good. I'm very, very not interested. However, understanding that yes, it's peak trash, as everyone says. I have very strong positive memories with a old 6-issue run of a comic called G.I. Joe Transformers from like 2006 or 4. It was during college era. I was buying them during the club spaces, and it was just a short and sweet run where Jay Lee, which is an awesome comic artist that does like really high contrast style, just did imagining a world where G.I. Joe and Transformers existed during World War II, and it was a fun concept world of like Cobra finding the Matrix, and then you're getting a bunch of like you're getting like Rumble as a like almost like Nazi fucking Decepticon weird soldier, and a bunch of like, you're getting Starscream, the fighter pilot from the, you know what I mean? And you're getting like all that shit where I'm like, this aesthetic is also would be rad enough on its own, but then crossing it over with the two, it was a fun like concept art into a story thing that ran very briefly. It would never be that, and it'll clearly never be anything remotely resembling that. But that specific crossover was rad as shit, and I loved it. And that just makes me go, I want that. I want that one little obscure thing that happened one time to exist. But no, clearly the Michael Bay movies clashing together is going to be a bunch of CG that you can't really understand what you're looking at, clashing into each other and catamarrying around the screen. But anyway.
Apparently, they're not directed by Bay anymore.
Oh, okay.
So they don't look like that anymore.
Well, Steven Spielberg is producing though, right?
Bro, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, I just
my knowledge of the later Transformers movies is scarce at best.
Like every time a trailer popped for any of, I'm just like, I don't wanna. I saw the Channing Tatum, the G.I. Joes, and I was like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, I saw those movies. They're fucking. They're god awful.
Oh man,
they're awful. They're fucking terrible.
Yeah. Nope. That comic was dope. We got our Snake Eyes hanging out with the Autobots, and shit was cool. That's more than enough for me. But I have to admit, Beast Wars is a curiosity. Just
you and Paige are the same. Sometimes like her brain just off whenever Transformers things happen, and then I'm like, hey, did you know the Beast Wars? She's like,
it's crazy. It's not all. It's just for the shit that looks like that looks like it sucks. I'm just like not in. But Beast Wars was my favorite shit, and I wanted
the shit they showed looked like it sucked just as bad as the rest. It was just different characters.
And I legit, like, one of my goals when I was younger was I wanted to work at Capcom. And then when I was doing CG and getting into 3D animation and shit, I wanted to work at Mainframe. Reboot was massively responsible for that, but the other thing Mainframe was doing was fucking Beast Wars at the time, which was also excellent. So these are massive formative fucking experiences I'm fighting against here. You're not gonna win. Like, I'm sorry, just Optimus Primal and fucking purple T-Rexes are just running in circles in my brain. You can't defeat that. It's not gonna happen. You could say whatever the fuck you want. You're not gonna win.
I will. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes of that. And then a couple of new games were announced as well. So the Dead Cells folks, Evil Empire, are making a Prince of Persia game called the Rogue Prince of Persia, and seems interesting. The art style is muted, and a lot of the rhythm and pacing of it seems very reminiscent of like original Prince of Persia, with more advanced combat. But it seems to just be going completely the opposite way from the recent one. Was it Lost Crown or?
I can't remember the name of it.
I think
it was
so,
good though.
Yeah, and it's kind of like weird that there's two Prince of Persia games so close to each other, like just like that. But and they're completely different takes on the franchise. Yeah, Lost Crown, like, again, sort of mechanic and combat wise, seems like it's more interesting and got a lot going on. But Dead Cells is sick, and this, if they take any of that into what they're doing here, this could be all right. I just don't know that, as much as their nostalgia for the old Prince of Persia, like classic slower paced thing is there, the Lost Crown shit and the newer games as well is like, I care about that combat looking good and that feeling good as well, and it doesn't just have to go.
Yeah, I just looked at a trailer for this. This looks like shit.
I think it's like, it's fine knowing that they're going for the old Prince of Persia look and style and pacing. They're deliberately going for that thing, and that's why it looks that way. It's
I know I strongly disagree. I played Prince of Persia back when it came out, and Lost Crown is feels a lot more like what they wanted to do with that, whereas this just looks bad.
I don't think it looks bad, but all right, we'll see. It's coming out on May 14th. Slay the Spire 2.
Yeah.
Is
okay. So
dropping.
Slay the Spire 2 gets to go into the fucking bin with Hades 2 for games that they go, hey, we're going to bring it out into early access like 5 years from now. Just don't. Why?
Early access in 2025.
Shut up.
Nice animated trailer. A couple screenshots. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping that with those screenshots, we're going to see some cool like attack animations occurring. That'd be fun.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, it's a card-based like deck builder, and you roll through it, and not that any of that matters, but it would be sick if it got to add that to the sequel. Because
I'll hold it for a second.
Oh no, it's just the one thing I think, like, I enjoyed Slay the Spire. I played a bunch of it, and the one thing I definitely would have loved is like the fights to like play out, you know, a little more than kind of like you kind of have attacks that sort of float, and it was a simple and affordable way to like represent what the cards do on your character. But making that a little more dynamic could be dope if they had the budget to do so.
So I have a problem with announcements way before games come out, but like multi-year announcements for you can preview the game is ridiculous. It's absurd.
Don't announce early access.
If you're going to go early access, the day that you announce it should be the fucking day it comes out in early access.
Fair. Yeah.
I should not be sitting around watching my child go through life milestones of multiple orders of magnitude in between you told me a game exists and you letting me QA it for money. That's fucking stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah. No, fair. And I know that, you know, my early access problem is often too much of the game gets played before the actual final release.
Like, Wooly, because we weren't in the right time frame, but you know how certain games got announced and they took like 5-6 years to come out, and it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's like, when was Silk Song announced? When was Silk Song announced?
As DLC for the original game, I mean, you can go back to its campaign.
Valentine's Day 2019.
Technically, you can go back to its Kickstarter campaign.
But sure, let's say 2019, right?
All right.
Okay, so it's been 5+ years. Like, a kid who was entering into high school would have fucking graduated waiting for Silk Song. Mm-hmm. That's fucking ridiculous. Games should only get 2 years. That's it. You have to put it out after 2 years.
If the game is Baldur's Gate scale, you're allowed. I'll put an asterisk on that and say that you get to be massive and humongous and benefit from everybody playing and giving you feedback that changes how many options and how much freedom you have in the game. Then fair, but yeah.
When was Baldur's Gate 3 revealed? February of 2023. When was Baldur's Gate 3 early access? August of 2023. When did Baldur's Gate 3 come out? September of 20... Wait, these are wrong. These are not correct. Initial release date is August of 2023. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, either way, I haven't thought about Slay the Spire in a while, and you can continue to not until it drops. But I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know why marketing decided to go at it this early. But
have you noticed that Google has become like garbage? Like, you type in like a very clear question and you just get the wrong answer.
I haven't noticed that.
Hey, I need to take a quick break.
Oh, okay. All right, BRB.
Hey, 1 second. Hello? That's strange. I can't.
Sorry, that was me. That was me. That was me. Sorry.
Okay.
I had my manual. I had my manual toggle on. Yeah. Sorry.
I thought I was losing my fucking mind.
Yes. No. I was gonna say to correct myself earlier. I feel that when it comes to Googling people, places, or things, that's more or less normal and the same as it's fine. But when it comes to Googling a question, that has been ruined completely by AI generated SEO optimized pages,
yeah, right.
and that's been dog shit for years because everything best a question just gets an article fed up that's pasting would you like to know about the length of whatever the fuck, and then the thing about this is, and just nonsense dreck and 15 ads and then gross out ads in between each one.
Have you seen the dead internet theory stuff with Facebook and the freaking weird AI generated centaur women that are just generating like hundreds of replies from robots in completely fake threads?
No, I have not.
Like, there's not a single human being interacting with this thing. It's just multiple AIs and image generators
to itself
from talking to each other.
Incredible. Not an ad to be found for anyone to click on. That's crazy. I mean, shit, man. Like, it's just the nature of that combined with the here's a close zoom in on wrinkles on an old man's face, but the wrinkles are going to look like something's awfully wrong with them, and we're going to try to creep you out. Like creep out ads that are just like, again, it's not gross, but it's just shy of gross. We're going to zoom in on like a bunch of beans in a spoon and like change the lighting so that the beans look kind of weirdly like poop or something, just to make you go, ah.
Well,
and then you're like, wait, oh, it's just beans. You know?
I mean, those beans will be poop soon enough.
Sure, but like a bunch of that weird fucking annoying garbage. Or like, here's a ginger root. Have one of these every day, says the doctor. But the ginger is weirdly lit so that it looks like a creepy, off-putting weird, you know?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
All right.
It's all a horrible nightmare.
All right. So
yeah, I don't mean to be rude, but I have to tell you, I am actually literally fighting to stay awake because I got up too early this morning.
No worries. We're just wrapping up. The last little bit I was going to talk about was Gearbox and Wasabi announcing a game called Rakugaki, which looks like a spray paint, a fly around punk kind of setting, you know, and aesthetically, you would it would be something that should raise an eyebrow for me.
It should.
But watching it, I don't know, something about the trailer for this, just RKGK, something about it felt kind of soulless. I like, it feels a little like too clean for the like aesthetic it's trying to convey, and it kind of feels more like corporate punk instead of like cyber funky. Do you know what I mean? Like
you're probably like zooming in directly on it perfectly.
Yeah, it doesn't feel authentic. It's hard, and like the cutscene you're watching is like there's no gameplay in it. You're just looking at an introduction, you know, FMV or whatever. But it doesn't feel, you know, like even the character design, the world, the setting, the we're gonna fight back against the cops and spray paint our way to freedom thing. I'm just like, yeah, I know what you're going for, and I usually love what you're going for, but this feels fake. This doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like you believe it.
I forgot. I'm looking in chat while you're saying this, and I forgot that Randy Pitchford's nickname is Greasy Randy. Greasy Randy's trying to slick one by.
I mean, better than Alleged Randy, you know?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's if you watch it, you know, there's just a vibe that there's a vibe check that doesn't get passed. I don't know. Just because you have a character spray painting and fighting the power and such doesn't mean you're going to get me in. But maybe the gameplay will look amazing, but so far.
If you're going to make a game about fighting the power and fucking the system, someone at the high end on the creative side has to be like fucking pissed off at how shit it all is all the time. You need like a Zach De La Rocca just on the fucking team, just going, oh, this fucking system, man.
Right.
Like, somewhere in there. And if you don't, it just comes off fake.
Well, and then scrolling down the bullet points for the things and in the key features, one of the bullet points is rage against the machine.
All right. Well.
Restore freedom to the citizens of Cap City, or anyway.
But is
whatever,
it hobby grade competitive co-op?
We'll have to see, but just the first impression I get is just like, this is the game that the architect designed to get the punk like revolutionaries to like all gather in one place, you know.
Yeah.
Revolt and spray your cans, or right over here, gather in this room right here.
I think one of the best critiques of like economic theory was the idea that the coolest thing about capitalism is that it can subsume critiques of capitalism into itself. And as you are describing, oh yeah, a part of the bullet point is rage against the machine is in this game that feels fake. It's just like hilarious.
All right, letters.
Hey, if you send a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
All right, one coming in from Drink Moxie says, "Dear tall guy with hair and short guy with a baby, I know for LP streaming purposes, fully voiced games are helpful, but when playing for yourself, do you prefer the silent protagonists like your Link or Gordon Freeman or Chosen Undead, or do you prefer fully developed protagonists like your Nathan Drake or your Snake or Dante?"
I could coin flip it by myself. No preference whatsoever.
I understand that loud people that talk a lot and quip and so on can get really annoying, but I don't need to self-insert. I don't need to feel that like it's me. Thus, when he says anything, I can imagine me say, or not saying anything. I can imagine it being me. I want a character that is their own person, and I want to jump into that person in their world. I don't want to pretend to be me entering a world and then let it be a blank template. I want a Harry Dubois who's got his own history and fucked up shit. Even though Harry is like talking through the clicks of what you're saying, I ultimately want someone who.
Yeah, you're always choosing things that Harry would say.
Yeah, I'm kind of done and tired with a silent protagonist. There can still be amazing games that have them. They don't, and it's just, if I have a choice, I always want a protagonist who has things to say and a personality and is a person who is inhabiting this world, whether or not we're there.
It's funny because like I believe they mentioned Gordon Freeman, and you just went through Half-Life 2. And like Gordon is like fucking so weird because even in his own setting, they're like, yeah, he doesn't say anything. Like he is his own character, and he has his own thoughts. He just never says a goddamn thing, and it's super strange.
I saw like a list of like, here's a bunch of shit that in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild that Link says that are like goofy answers that are full of personality, you know. And it's like, oh yeah, he does like have these things you can say as him if you'd like to. But no, I always would prefer somebody who like exists outside of just being an avatar for the player.
So there's two games that come to mind that have quote unquote silent protagonists that the games attempt to characterize anyway.
Okay.
And one is New Vegas, in which like you get an entire DLC. One of the DLCs is about the backstory of the courier, despite the fact that the courier could be anyone and you could have been playing the game in any way. And the way that they like play around that is really interesting. And the other one is Final Fantasy 14. Despite it being any self-insert character, whatever, anything possible, you get far enough in there and they characterize you in a bunch of really interesting ways. It doesn't change anything that you've thought up about the way you want to play your character or your own backstory. But they do some stuff and it's really interesting.
Okay. I would also say that like the twist of like your silent protagonist is silent for a reason because they have some sort of past of being messed with,
like
created.
the Quiet Man.
It's whatever the case is. Maybe not the Quiet Man. Maybe I don't know. Pick a Cloud or something, or a Chrono, or or any whatever. Like any example where like there's a reason why the character is like that or so. And it's like I know that can be used, but we've seen those. So I'm also like, I don't like that's not going to make it a ton better either. I kind of am just like, yeah. Make it a person. Make it a person with a personality. The further we get from the visual hair protagonist with the student uniform and their hair covering their eyes, the better. I think.
So, like, I guess one of the reasons that I'm a coin flip on it is that there are three places here: good voiced protagonist, silent protagonist, and then bad voiced protagonist.
Right.
And I find bad ones just as common as good ones. And quiet ones sidestep all that shit regardless. So yeah, I could go any which way.
All right, there. Let's take one over here from L. Ron Scrubbard. How you doing? Nicely done.
And that's one of the all-time best Eric Andre bits. Is black Scientologists.
I haven't seen that one. I don't think.
Oh man.
There's a lot of Eric Andre seasons I need to. Yeah.
Getting New Yorkers to just drop their jaws at some stupid shit is a talent.
Dear Leroy and Gone, listening to you guys during the ranked matches of Tekken I was playing seems to significantly improve my performance. Not sure why. My working theory is that distraction relaxes me, allowing me to easily tap into a flow state. Any rituals you use to improve your competitive play? Not listening to anything, actually. The complete opposite. I've turned the sound on in the game I want to play good at so that I can use all the cues to be better. I'll play right after the match is done, but I need to be locked in. And I would say, like, at a tournament, I always empty my pockets before. Something about emptying your pockets, you just feel lighter, and thus you just feel like you can respond better. Everybody does it. You put your phone and your keys on the table, and you stick your controller in your lap. And
I genuinely think it's extremely rare for me to not have seen that or done that myself. Nothing specific. Like, get rid of distractions. Shocker. I can tell you, I it's not about quality or skill or focus, but if I have a second monitor over here and there's a Star Trek on that, I can do whatever task you need me to fucking do until I die of exposure.
Rote work, yeah.
Because I got real good at looking at this shit with this eye and this shit with the other eye.
I see someone ask with question marks. Audio cues, yes. There are sounds that happen in fighting games that you don't need, but they will help you if you give yourself the best chance to respond to everything happening. When you're fighting JP in Street Fighter 6 and he's throwing his shit at you, you can just respond to what you see. But if you're also listening to him going, away, and then he suddenly goes, away, that's the thing that means that the ghost is coming out to grab you. So you have a little bit of an extra thing to listen out for. So yeah, that's real. All right, one last one over here. No name. Hey there, Canadian Goose supremacist, woolly and self-injurious media enjoyer Pat. Your talk about Madam Web this week brought a specific instance of media to mind. How many bad guys could have been sussed out by a simple background check? Not that Ezekiel's quest for Magic Spider would have been something to put on a resume, but it always seems like the worst bad guys come from very close circles who need to be the main character, like Dennis in Jurassic Park or Vincent in Chappie, to pick a few strange examples. Is it narrative structure's fault for creating this villain stereotype, or just lazy script writing?
You can't think too hard about this.
I mean,
if you spoke to the writer, they'd be like, oh, well, they cleaned up those records or blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, no, there's a million common sense things you could do to fuck up like the plan of almost every single movie.
Just Talk is obviously the one that I've screamed about for years, but
you know what? There's one that's like that. It's funny that I just mentioned Star Trek, but this would have been the answer regardless. There's a Star Trek episode that called I think it's called Effect and Cause. I can't remember, but anyway, the cold open is the Enterprise blowing the fuck up, and then you watch the intro, and then it starts a regular episode. And the whole premise of the episode is they're caught in a time loop in which the ship always fucking blows up at the end. And Worf stands up and goes, well, if we're caught in a time loop, then we should reverse course to avoid the disaster. And Picard goes, no, for all we know, that would cause the disaster. We should keep doing what we were doing until we have reason to change it. And then they fly into a fucking thing and blow up. And it makes no fucking sense. It's like you're caught in a time loop. Okay. Start doing weird shit over and over. Anything other than what you were going to do anyway.
Yeah, if it all leads back to the same place, then yes. How far can you bend it? Of course.
It bothers me so much.
Yeah, no, but the idea of anyone being able to just type a couple names into a fucking search and be like, oh yeah, I don't trust this guy. For me, I have a little bit of that anytime I'm watching any media where like the main characters are kind of like working outside the law or like vigilantes or whatever. Something's going on, fights are happening, explosions are happening, and places are blowing up, and then like as the monster of the week or so is handled by the group that is taking care of problems that humans can't handle. Like there's never a point where anything resembling a fire department pulls up, or like it's just like there's always just like, I'm like, if you could have it always, the more central to a downtown location, something like that happens, and then there's just no response from anyone ever, that like the whole fight happens, like, and then
fire departments exist in every city in the goddamn world. They're really important.
That always comes to mind. I'm like, just you can explain it by having everyone leave before they get there, but just they're there, right?
I'm just thinking, in Persona 3, the very first full moon boss is on the subway. You know how everyone is like in stop time in the midnight hour, except for your gang, and then like the boss like makes the subway move and like go super fast, and then you beat the boss and they stop, right?
I'm trying to remember.
Like the first boss is the high priestess on the train, and she pulls the lever and the train starts moving, right? But here's the part that I don't get. During the midnight hour, the train was already moving. It just stopped because the midnight hour happened. Like it just stopped from your perspective.
It should not be able to move during that time.
Well, no, but when she moves it during the midnight hour, that means it's going like 4 times its max speed, and then just stops like 2 miles down the track from where it was. So wouldn't all those people just slam into the back of the fucking subway car and explode when the midnight hour ends?
Look, man, just, everything needs to just follow Clamp's example. Remember X from Clamp, 1999?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about at all. I don't know what that is.
The Dragons of Earth and the Dragons of Heaven. And then, depending on which one chooses with the sword that's birthed from the woman, then you become the good and the evil. The X has a thing where whenever the stupid things are fighting, they put up a barrier, and it's a geometric shape, and whatever happens inside of this barrier doesn't happen in real life until like essentially the reboot GameCube goes back and leaves. So if I beat the evil, then the destroyed location will be healed and everything will be fine. But if the evil wins, then it stays destroyed.
That is some weak ass fictional shit. That is so fucking lame.
The consequences only matter if we lose, but if we win, then it's all good.
That is embarrassing. That somebody wrote that into their story.
User wins. That's fine.
That is terrible.
All right, look. You go take your nap, and
I'm going to take my nap in 5 hours.
I see.
And it's called bedtime.
Okay. Well, I got to get out of here because apparently I got to go join some Nikke unions.
You sure do.
Apparently that's a thing. I'm getting
Wait, what does that mean?
I don't know, but Dash Zero's messaging me about it saying, yo, join my union, bro. So I'm like, I don't know. We'll find out, I suppose. All right.
Can I join the union?
Well, I don't know what they do.
We'll find out.
All right. Will it make the asses shinier? Because then, hey, I'm down. Just say the word.